Chapter 412. The two cultivators fighting each other apparently also discovered Ning Cheng's flight-type true artifact, but the two of them acted as if they did not see it, as their fight turned even more intense. Heavens, is this a crucible transformation cultivator? Yang Honghua cried out in shock. With sufficient pills and spirit stones, his progress was not small, and at this moment he was already at essence building realm 5th level. Ning Cheng could sense that the cultivation of these two people was higher than him, but he did not use his spiritual consciousness to investigate them. He wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. Although his cultivation was far higher than his, it didn't mean that his strength was far superior to his. He had killed a lot of cultivators who were much stronger than him. Since the two of them had been fighting for so long, their true essence was definitely not at its peak. Even if he could not beat them, he could still escape. Therefore, Ning Cheng did not feel much fear, as he immediately controlled the flight-type true artifact to change its direction, while at the same time speaking to Ning Ruolin. "We have not reached the Tian continent yet, it would be better to leave this place as soon as possible." Even without Ning Cheng's reminder, Ji Luofei and the others already knew that this was not a place to stay for long. No matter how powerful Ning Cheng was, he was still too young. The cultivations of the cultivators in the true cultivation world were all accumulated over the years. Even if Ning Cheng's age was even more outstanding, he could not be compared to those old things who had lived for countless years. Just as Ning Cheng's airship turned around, the man suddenly laughed and spoke. "Su Anjin, even if you secretly came to the Yixing Ocean to forcibly restore your cultivation, so what?" Su Anjin? Ning Cheng was greatly shocked in his heart. He knew that this woman had a deep hatred towards him. Previously in the North Light Town, he had heard Li Lingfan vaguely mention that Su Anjin was seriously injured because of activating the forbidden technique. Not only was he seriously injured, he even announced that the Severing Emotions Dao sect had sealed itself off from the rest of the world, so how could he appear here now? And he's so strong? Ning Cheng's first thought on hearing Su Anjin's name was to desperately go forward to help that male cultivator, and then the two of them could join forces to kill Su Anjin. However, he immediately understood, and his heart was filled with hatred. These old things were all incomparably cunning, and not a single one of them was good. That man had called out Su Anjin's name with the purpose of using him as cannon fodder. For Su Anjin to sneak out to the Yixing Ocean, it was obvious that she did not want to be known by others. If he knew that Su Anjin was here, then he would definitely speak about it. In order to keep this secret, Su Anjin would definitely kill the few of them. Su Anjin had already killed a few of the people here. Even if it was just a slight movement of her fingers, it would still give that male cultivator a slight advantage. Just for this little advantage, that male cultivator shamelessly used Ning Cheng and the others as cannon fodder. Ning Cheng did not wait for Su Anjin to start and spoke out in a loud voice. "We have offended a few people in the Tian continent, and are going to the Le continent. Please don't mind me and continue your conversation." Saying that, Ning Cheng's low-grade flight-type true artifact instantly rushed out. Su Anjin, who originally wanted to catch up with Ning Cheng to silence him, suddenly changed her mind, and started to attack that man even more crazily. Since they were going to the Le continent, she simply did not need to care about it. Even with a low-grade flight-type true artifact, it would still take several years to reach the Le continent from here. Moreover, they had to pray that they wouldn't encounter any powerful demonic beasts along the way. Otherwise, they would just be waiting for death. A sea-opening realm cultivator wanting to cross the Yixing Ocean to reach the Le continent, to be honest, it was not much different from courting death. Seeing that Su Anjin did not chase after him, Ning Cheng felt relieved. By the time Su Anjin reacted, he had already left. That male cultivator coldly snorted, "What a crafty kid. Uncle, didn't we just come from the Le continent? Why do we want to go to the Le continent?" Tai Shu Pingho quickly asked. Tai Shu Pingho's spiritual roots were quite good, and with the help of sufficient cultivation resources, he had already advanced to Qi gathering 5th level. Moreover, his body was also a lot more robust. "I was wrong, we should be going to the Tian continent." Ning Cheng smiled, but in his heart he was very distressed. He did not know how far away he was from the Tian continent, nor did he know which direction he should take. In case he really ended up going in the direction of the Le Continent, then it would truly be very depressing. 50,000 spirit stones per person. The female cultivator at the entrance of the Heavenly Tao Public Square's Cultivator Exchange Hall casually spoke. So expensive? Zhang Sun Yen called out in shock. Then she looked at Yan Ji and spoke. Big sister Yan Ji, why don't we not go in? 50,000 high-grade spirit stones, this is simply. They really are country bumpkins. Although Ji Yi had already left, but there were still a lot of people in the Tian continent who looked down on the cultivators from the Le Continent. In the Heavenly Tao Public Square, 50,000 spirit stones was really nothing. As for the people who came here, which one of them did not want to throw away a lot of money? It's just a trifling 50,000 spirit stones. I'll take out 500,000, junior apprentice Sister Ji, you can go in. Bei Xingjin gave a cold snort and did not hesitate to stand up and speak. Yan Ji calmly spoke, no need, I still have a few tens of thousands of spirit stones. Saying that, she took out 100,000 spirit stones and handed it to the cultivator at the entrance, while simultaneously speaking to Zhang Sun Yen, junior apprentice Sister Zhang Sun, I'll help you pay your share. She knew that although Zhang Sun Yen was also from an 8-star academy, but since she came from the Le Continent, she would definitely not be as rich as her. Big sister Yan Ji, I still have some spirit stones. Zhang Sun Yen quickly wanted to take out the spirit stones, but was stopped by Yan Ji. After I got lost at the bottom of the Blood River, you spoke up for senior apprentice Brother Ning. I have not been able to repay you for this kindness, so what are a few tens of thousands of spirit stones? Zhang Sun Yen spoke up for Ning Cheng, and even became a stranger to Nailan Rushue, all because of Ning Cheng. Nailan Rushue looked at Yan Ji in surprise. She had always thought that Yan Ji looked at Ning Cheng in a different light, because Ning Cheng had saved her. However, from those words, Nailan Rushue could see that Yan Ji was not because Ning Cheng had saved her, but rather because she had feelings for Ning Cheng. Seeing Yan Ji and Zhang Sun Yen enter, Bei Xingjin's complexion turned very ugly, but he did not leave. After paying the spirit stones, he followed them into the Cultivator Exchange main hall. Nailan Rushue, who was even richer than Yan Ji, obviously would not miss such an opportunity, and immediately followed them inside. The female cultivator guarding the entrance knew that these cultivators from the Le Continent all knew each other, but she did not know whether it was because of Yan Ji's Blood River Red Lotus, or because of Yin Kongchan, or because of Ning Cheng, but she unexpectedly did not continue to ask the other cultivators to come up with a treasure. As long as one paid the entrance fee of 50,000 spirit stones, they could then enter the Cultivator Exchange main hall. Some of the cultivators who had taken a fancy to Nailan Rushue and Yan Ji's appearance also could not wait to enter the main hall. They wanted to take advantage of the fact that Nailan Rushue and Yan Ji had not joined any of the major academies to get to know them. Otherwise, in the future, they would not even have the opportunity to speak with them. The Rainbow Fallsword Sect's first-level Soul Essence Realm cultivator seemed to know that Yan Ji and the others not only knew Ning Cheng, but also had some relationship with Ning Cheng. After he deliberately followed them inside, he then pointed to the empty platform on the right side of the main hall and spoke. You see it, this place is the battle ring where senior apprentice Brother Ning and the Red Star Sword factions Ding Liang fought. That Ding Liang's cultivation was higher than senior apprentice Brother Ning, but under the hands of senior apprentice Brother Ning, he could not even last a single round before senior apprentice Brother Ning dug out his golden core and then, with someone explaining the events that happened in the past with Ning Cheng, some of the Le Continent's cultivators who came in temporarily forgot to look at the other things in the main hall as they gathered around this cultivator and listened attentively. Seeing Yan Ji and the other Le Continent's cultivators surrounding him and listening to him with great interest, the Rainbow Fallsword Sect's Soul Essence cultivator spoke with even more enthusiasm. Then senior apprentice Brother Ning did not take it seriously and stepped on Ding Liang's golden core. Poor fellow who claimed to be ranked 37th in the profound core realm in the great meet of the academies, ended up having his golden core crushed. His methods are somewhat ruthless. To actually dig out a cultivator's golden core and crush it. Bei Xingjin gave a soft sigh as he shook his head slightly. This Rainbow Fallsword Sect's Soul Essence cultivator did not agree with it and immediately turned furious in his heart. This fellow obviously came from the Le continent like Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, yet unexpectedly said that Senior Apprentice Brother Ning was ruthless. Humph. This soul essence cultivator gave a cold snort. Many people have witnessed the actions of Senior Apprentice Brother Ning. Moreover, many of the Academy's genius disciples were also saved by Senior Apprentice Brother Ning. So what makes you say that Senior Apprentice Brother Ning's methods are ruthless? Bei Xingjin cupped his fists and spoke. This Senior Apprentice Brother, I'm just feeling a bit emotional. In my heart I also stand on Ning Cheng's side. It's just that it is not easy for us cultivators to cultivate, to condense a golden core. We need to accumulate it over countless years. Taking away someone else's golden core and crushing it for no reason at all, it just makes my heart feel a bit sentimental. Bah? Sentimental? That Red Star Sword faction's Ding Liang tried to forcibly buy and sell things here, using a low price to forcibly buy things from a cultivator with low cultivation. As a result, no one dared to stand up, only Senior Apprentice Brother Ning stood up to stop it. Moreover, before that Ding Liang challenged him, he even said that he would dig out Senior Apprentice Brother Ning's golden core. Senior Apprentice Brother Ning has always been modest and polite from the beginning to the end. How can this be called ruthless? This soul essence cultivator cursed out. Bei Xingjin's complexion turned extremely ugly to look at. His cultivation was much higher than this soul essence cultivator. As such, in this place, he did not dare to make a move against this person. It's just a rumor, who knows if it's true or not. Bei Xingjin finished speaking, and did not want to waste any more words with this soul essence cultivator. However, this soul essence cultivator who spoke up for Ning Cheng did not let him go, and spoke up with a sneer. With just a glance, I can tell that you and Ding Liang are jackals of the same lair. The cultivator who was bullied at that time was this Zhang Qian. If not for Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, then there would not be a Zhang Qian today. Senior Apprentice Brother Ning has shown me grace, yet you want to secretly slander Senior Apprentice Brother Ning? Humph. Bei Xingjin felt as if he had just swallowed a big fly. When he said that Ning Cheng was ruthless, it was only indirectly meant for Yan Ji to hear. He did not expect that it would be the exact opposite. Senior Apprentice Brother Zhang, did Senior Apprentice Brother Ning kill Ding Liang in this place in the past? Cheng Yixiao had set Ning Cheng as his target, so he certainly wanted to know what Ning Cheng did after he came to the Cultivator Exchange main hall. The things that Senior Apprentice Brother Ning did in the past, you simply cannot imagine. Fortunately, I also helped Senior Apprentice Brother Ning in the past, and was fortunate enough to participate in this matter. As Zhang Qian spoke, he arrived in front of a stall in the main hall, while the rest of the people subconsciously followed him. Zhang Qian pointed to the stall and spoke in a heroic manner. Do you know what Senior Apprentice Brother Ning did in this place in the past? I'm sure that no one can imagine it. No, it's not the Blood River Red Lotus. Senior Apprentice Brother Ning directly took out a barrel of Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar and put it up for sale. That's right, you certainly did not hear it wrong. It's a barrel of Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar. Even if it is a Crucible Transformation Senior, how many of them would be able to take out a barrel of Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar for sale? Yan Ji, on hearing Ning Cheng put up a barrel of Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar, her face suddenly turned red. Chapter 413. No one was as clear as her about how much Spiritual Enhancement True Nectar was in Ning City, as she had even taken a bath in it. Thinking that there were no secrets in front of Ning Cheng, Yan Ji suddenly did not dare to see Ning Cheng. Big sister Yan Ji, what's the matter? Zhang Sun Yan did not know the situation, and still asked from the side. This was already the third day since he had left the place where the two experts were fighting. Ning Cheng finally stopped his flight-type true artifact. In the vast Yixing Ocean, he could not even see where the sun rose from, so how could he find the right direction? Just when Ning Cheng did not know where to go, a faintly discernible shadow passed through the range of his spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng was so pleasantly surprised that he did not even think about it, as he controlled the airship to chase after that shadow. He was sure that it was a flight-type magical weapon. Sure enough, after the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, a best-quality spiritual artifact shuttle-type magical weapon appeared in the range of Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness. When Ning Cheng's airship approached the flying shuttle, the speed of the flying shuttle immediately increased. Apparently, the flying shuttle thought that it was going to rob the airship. Ning Cheng did not care about it and just sped up the airship. Even if it was a best quality flight type spiritual artifact, it could not compare to Ning Cheng's low-grade true artifact. Another hour passed before the flying shuttle came to a sudden stop. They probably knew that they couldn't fly past Ning Cheng's airship, so they had no choice but to stop. Ning Cheng also stopped the airship. He had already seen the cultivator on the best quality flight type spiritual artifact. It was a middle-aged man with a short stature. His cultivation was at the second level of sea opening realm, and his body exuded an intense aura of seawater, as well as a faint bloody aura. From this, it could be seen that this person had been in the Yixing Ocean for a long time. Moreover, he had also been killing people in the Yixing Ocean. The sea-opening cultivator on the shuttle saw that Ning Cheng was only at the early stages of the sea-opening realm. Moreover, apart from Ning Cheng, the highest cultivation among them was only at the profound core third level, causing him to immediately feel relieved. Once the fear in his heart disappeared, his gaze immediately fell onto Ning Cheng's low-grade flight-type true artifact. In the Tian continent, even among the crucible transformation cultivators, there were not many who possessed low-grade flight-type true artifacts. He was able to move unhindered around the periphery of the Yixing Ocean. In addition to his strength, the most important thing was that he possessed a best-quality flight-type spiritual artifact. "Friend, why are you chasing after me so closely? I don't know what you want from me." This sea-opening realm cultivator stared at Ning Cheng, while circulating his true essence, ready to strike at any moment. "I do not dare, because I got lost in the Yixing Ocean and do not know the direction. I would like to ask about the direction of the mirage-gazing city or the Tian continent." Ning Cheng politely cupped his fists and spoke. When this cultivator heard Ning Cheng say that he was lost, he couldn't help but look at Ning Cheng with some doubts. It was reasonable to say that a cultivator who could come to this place would definitely have the Yixing Ocean's directional array disk, yet this cultivator actually said that he did not know the direction? However, he quickly took out an array disk and threw it to Ning Cheng and said, "I happen to have a lot of directional array disks here, I will give you one." Although he said those words, he was even more vigilant towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng took the array disk and swept it with his spiritual consciousness. Sure enough, it was marked with the direction and the location of the Mirage Ship Island. Moreover, it also marked the locations of several other islands. Ning Cheng was overjoyed and quickly thanked him as he controlled the airship and quickly disappeared in the direction of the mirage-gazing island. He knew that the other party was suspicious, so he didn't say anything. The cultivator who delivered the array disk to Ning Cheng became even more puzzled. Did he really get lost? With the directional array disk, Ning Cheng only spent a day before he was able to see the mirage-gazing island. Knowing that the teleportation would require a large amount of spirit stones, Ning Cheng once again let the rest of the people enter the miniature world. He didn't want to spend spirit stones that he shouldn't have. Ning Cheng did not have any mood to play around in the mirage-gazing island. After entering the mirage-gazing city, he directly went to the place where the transmission array was located. To the Tian continent. Ning Cheng threw out a storage bag in front of the old man guarding the transmission array. The old man grabbed the storage bag and threw a jade card towards Ning Cheng. "Go stand in line." He did not even bother to check the number of spirit stones in his storage bag. In the mirage-gazing island, if one wanted to falsify one's identity, then even if they were transferred to the Tian continent, it would only be a dead end for them. Ning Cheng's luck was quite good, as he was the 10th person to enter. Without a minute's delay, he was teleported away. Steward Peng was just about to take away the spirit stones in Ning Cheng's storage bag when he suddenly stood up in a daze. "That's not right. It only cost 500,000 spirit stones to teleport from the mirage-gazing island to the Tian continent. So why did this cultivator give 1 million spirit stones? 1 million spirit stones for a single transfer. That was when the 9-colored mirage tree still existed." Steward Peng quickly felt that Ning Cheng was somewhat familiar with it. 9-colored mirage tree? He was so excited that he almost trembled. Ning Cheng, the one who dug out the 9-colored mirage tree, had returned and was even detected by him. You take a look at the transmission array, I'll go to the city master's mansion. Steward Peng immediately pointed to a cultivator next to him and gave some instructions. He then turned around and hurried out of the transmission array hall. Being able to drop 500,000 spirit stones was not even worth mentioning for him. If the information he provided could help him catch Ning Cheng, the one who obtained the 9-colored mirage tree, then he would definitely strike it rich. He was sure that he would not be able to do it alone, so he had to go to the city master's mansion and contact a certain force. In his opinion, Ning Cheng must have sneaked back. The Grand Peace City was one of the most famous true cultivator cities in the Tian continent. Ever since a few years ago, when the Grand Peace City auctioned the geocentric 9 essence and promoted the 9-colored mirage trees branch, which caused several major academies to wage war, this true cultivator city became even more famous. In the past, the profound light chamber of commerce that auctioned these two things, because of this matter, had vaguely surpassed the Tian continent's silver lynx chamber of commerce, and could even compete with the number 1 chamber of commerce, the Wind and Cloud Pavilion. At this time, a blue-robed man arrived at the entrance of the profound light chamber of commerce. This blue-robed man walked to the entrance of the profound light chamber of commerce and looked at the entrance, before speaking out to himself, "Not bad, it really is because of me that it has become a lot more imposing in recent years. You are not allowed to go upstairs. If you want to put up an item for auction, then you can do it downstairs." A profound core cultivator stopped the blue-robed man in front of the merchant house and spoke. "Oh, then you can go and tell Song Yi that an old friend has come to find him for something." The blue-robed man spoke out in a clear voice. Although he wanted this profound core cultivator to tell others, but his voice could be heard throughout the entire merchant house. By the time that profound core cultivator reacted, he found that the blue-robed man had already disappeared. This blue-robed man was of course Ning Cheng. After he returned to the Tian continent, he did not go anywhere else. The first thing he did was to come to the Grand Peace City. He had come to collect his debt. With his current cultivation, of course, he was not afraid of people chasing after him. However, he did not know if there would be people chasing after him or not. As such, he first put the spirit stones that belonged to him in his pocket, which was the safest thing to do. Ning Cheng's voice was transmitted out through his true essence, and was immediately heard by Song Yi upstairs. Song Ye's heart unconsciously trembled. Why did he feel that this voice was somewhat familiar? Moreover, he also had a bad premonition in his heart. Then when he saw Ning Cheng with his spiritual consciousness, his complexion suddenly changed. Wasn't this the cultivator surnamed Kang who had come to the profound light chamber of commerce to put up an item for auction? Many people had already spread rumors that he was Ning Cheng, so why did he still dare to come here? What should he do? "Shopkeeper Song, you don't seem to be as enthusiastic as the last time. Don't tell me that when I came to put up an item for auction, you were incomparably enthusiastic, but when I came to ask for the spirit stones for my own item, did you just turn a blind eye to it?" Just as Song Ye's mind was rapidly churning, Ning Cheng's voice suddenly appeared in his ears. Initially, Ning Cheng was not able to see through Song Ye's specific cultivation. He only knew that this person had at least the cultivation of Sea Opening Realm. At this time, Ning Cheng could clearly see that Song Ye's cultivation was at second level of Sea Opening Realm, which was a level lower than his own. "Oh, so it turned out to be Brother Kang. I was just wondering why Brother Kang did not come today? Now that I finally see Brother Kang, I can finally put down my heart. Come, Brother Kang, please take a seat. Someone come, bring the spiritual tea." Song Yi immediately reacted, as he invited Ning Cheng to sit down in an exaggerated manner. Ning Cheng sat down with a smile on his face as he casually spoke. "Shopkeeper Song should already know what I came here for, right? I don't know if the two things that I sold in the past are still here?" "AI." Song Yi slapped his thigh as he spoke in an annoyed voice. "Speaking of this matter, my profound light chamber of commerce really wants to cry but has no tears. In the past, because my profound light chamber of commerce sold those two heaven-defying things, it ended up provoking several major academies to fight over them. My profound light chamber of commerce?" Ning Cheng's eyes revealed a surprised expression. Could it be that the profound light chamber of commerce was destroyed in the fight between the major academies, and then re-established itself. That's not it, it's just that my profound light chamber of commerce, because of the auction of those two things, ended up offending several of the major academies, causing our business to turn cold. Song Yi spoke with a face full of annoyance, as if the things that Ning Qing had given him in the past were dog shit, which the profound light chamber of commerce had to swallow. Oh, then I can rest assured. Ning Qing still spoke in a casual manner, before he suddenly raised his tone. That's right, why is shopkeeper Song saying this to me? Is it because I did something wrong, and need to compensate for the losses of the profound light chamber of commerce? Song Yi sighed and spoke. Since this matter has already happened, of course I cannot ask Brother Kung to compensate for the losses. Fortunately, the geocentric 9-yin essence was auctioned off with some spirit stones, which should be more than enough to compensate my profound light chamber of commerce. Ning Qing quickly spoke up. That's good, that's good. Now shopkeeper Song, please give me the spirit stones that I obtained from the sale of the geocentric 9-yin essence. This time, the spirit stones should be quite a lot. I also intend to take out some of the spirit stones to establish a rogue cultivator fund, to help some of the rogue cultivators or the disciples of the academies who are outside all year round. Song Yi did not know what Ning Qing was talking about when he spoke about the fund, before he gave out a sigh and spoke. Brother Kang, I have already said that because of this matter, the spirit stones that were auctioned off were all given to the profound light chamber of commerce as compensation. Otherwise, my profound light chamber of commerce would have already gone bankrupt. Ning Qing stood up in shock. Shopkeeper Song, you are not saying that you will not give me the spirit stones, right? The profound light chamber of commerce is also a major chamber of commerce. How can you do such a thing? This is just too shameless. Wouldn't the profound light chamber of commerce stink? Who else would dare to come to the profound light chamber of commerce? Song Ye's complexion changed even faster than the sun in June, as his face sank. My profound light chamber of commerce is not looking for you for compensation, it is already a huge favor. Do you still want to blackmail my chamber of commerce? Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and felt several powerful auras converging towards him, causing him to sneer, before he once again spoke up. So the profound light chamber of commerce wants to be shameless to the end, and even want to blackmail my things? You must think that you can blackmail my things, but my profound light chamber of commerce is not something that you can say. Song Ye's complexion turned even colder, as the imposing aura coming from his body skyrocketed, while the surrounding array formations immediately closed up. Ning Cheng's anger suddenly disappeared as he gave a smile, before he took out a crystal ball and spoke. Shopkeeper Song, your memory is not that good. I had already recorded you in the past with a crystal ball, but today you still let me record your entire face, alas. Song Yi, on seeing Ning Qing take out a crystal ball, his complexion immediately turned grim. So what? Do you think you can walk away? Chapter 4:14. At the same time as Song Yi spoke, 3 figures flashed and appeared in the room, surrounding Ning Qing in front of them. They had not even started yet, but the surrounding space was already filled with murderous aura. Together with Song Yi, there were already 4 sea-opening realm cultivators from the profound light chamber of commerce. The one with the highest cultivation was at the 6th level of sea-opening realm. Wait. A sudden voice sounded out, followed by a tall woman walking in. Her footsteps were light and graceful, with a trace of an aloof temperament. Little Miss. Song Yi and the others, who were about to start, on seeing this woman come in, immediately bowed in greeting. Ning Qing was also sizing up this tall woman. Although Ning Qing did not like her oval face, Ning Qing could not deny that she was a very beautiful woman. A pair of sturdy long legs wrapped in clothes, but it only served to accentuate the sexiness of this woman. Ning Cheng's gaze fell on that pair of slender legs. At this moment, the scene of Shi Qionghua's legs clamping around his waist unexpectedly appeared in his mind. Immediately, Ning Cheng felt surprised in his heart. The matter between him and Shi Qionghu was a secret between the two of them. How could he think of it at this time? The next moment, Ning Cheng sobered up. He stared at this woman's mocking and disdainful eyes, realizing that he had fallen into this woman's trap. This woman, addressed as Little Miss, had the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 1st level, However, Ning Cheng did not care much about it. He did not think that this woman would actually use a top-notch charming technique. Moreover, she had even used it on him. It was invisible and formless, formed through the opponent's consciousness. If in the middle of a fight, as long as he was even slightly distracted, then his life would not be in his own hands. Seeing Ning Cheng sober up so quickly, this woman was slightly surprised. She put away the mockery and spoke in a light voice. "You should not be surnamed Kang. If I have not guessed wrong, then you should be Ning Cheng." What a daring little fellow. Ning Cheng sneered. He simply did not pay any attention to this woman. In any case, his spirit stones were already in his hands today. What could a crucible transformation cultivator do to him? It was not like he had never killed a crucible transformation cultivator before. Seeing Ning Cheng not speak, this woman did not care about it, and spoke in a light voice. "That year after you put it up for auction, you disappeared. Shopkeeper's song said that you caused some losses to my profound light chamber of commerce, but it is not nonsense. Since you're here today, let's do it this way. Hand over the 2 crystal balls, and we'll pay you some spirit stones." "Oh, I don't know how many spirit stones are they?" Ning Cheng calmly asked. "I am Yuan Qin of the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce. I will be the one to take charge of today's matter. In the past, the geocentric 9-yin essence was auctioned for 900 million spirit stones. We are willing to give you 200 million spirit stones. Let's just call it a day. What do you think, Brother Ning?" The woman spoke out lightly. "Nothing." Ning Cheng remained expressionless. He raised his hand, and a long spear appeared in his hand. He was ready to start. "Hey, what kind of magical weapon is this?" Yuan Qin, on seeing Ning Cheng take out a long spear, asked in amazement. As a young master of the Chamber of Commerce who had seen countless magical weapons, she unexpectedly could not see through the grade of this long spear. The long spear in Ning Cheng's hands did not have a name, because it was simply a material that had not been refined. At this time, when he heard Yuan Qin's words, he immediately felt moved in his heart. Giving his spear a name would also be a good idea. This spear will be called the Nirvana Spear from now on. Some of the untrustworthy demons, devils, and ghosts under my spear, other than dying, there is no way for them to undergo Nirvana rebirth. Yuan Qin obviously knew that Ning Cheng's words were directed at the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce, but still gave a faint smile and spoke. "You already possess the cultivation of 3rd level of Sea Opening Realm. Presumably it is because of the good fortune that you managed to progress so quickly. However, you should know that the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce's Merchant House's array formation has already been activated. Moreover, I have 4 Sea Opening Realm cultivators with me, yet I accidentally ended up entering a Crucible Transformation Realm. If I want to kill you, do you think you have a chance to escape?" Ning Cheng slammed the Nirvana Spear in his hand into the ground. "When this Grandpa King only had a soul essence cultivation, I had already broken through the Severing Emotions Tao sect. Could it be that your Profound Light Chamber of Commerce's array formation is even more powerful than the Severing Emotions Tao sect's Mountain Protecting Grand Array? Or could it be that the strength of your Profound Light Chamber of Commerce is even more powerful than the Severing Emotions Tao sect? This Grandpa King can enter and leave the Severing Emotions Tao sect 7 times at a time. Why would I be afraid of your puny Profound Light Chamber of Commerce, huh?" Ning Cheng gave a hearty laugh. What entering and exiting 7 times, what breaking through the Severing Emotions Tao sect's Mountain Protecting Grand Array, it was all just him bragging. If not for Shi Qianghua coming to save him, he would have already turned into ashes. Yuan Qin's complexion immediately changed. Even the faces of the other Sea Opening Realm cultivators also changed slightly. Ning Cheng simply admitted to what he had done, causing them to have some misgivings. To say that the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce's array formation could be compared to the Severing Emotions Tao sect's Mountain Protecting Grand Array, it was simply a self-deception. They could even say that the experts of the Severing Emotions Tao sect had come to the Grand Peace City to participate in the auction, which resulted in a sneak attack on the academy. However, even a fool would know that even if the experts of the Severing Emotions Tao sect came to participate in the auction, the experts who stayed behind in the academy would definitely be stronger than the 5 people here. As for whether what Ning Cheng said was true or false, they simply did not know. They only knew that such a thing had indeed happened in the Severing Emotions Dao sect in the past. Moreover, after this incident, the Severing Emotions Dao sect had sealed itself off from the outside world. Yuan Qin, who was originally about to start, showed a slight frown. Ning Cheng's words were just too frightening. Once a fight really broke out, the profound light chamber of commerce would only have two paths to take. The first was to really kill Ning Cheng, and the second was to perish. Even the Severing Emotions Dao sect could not kill Ning Cheng, so how could she and the others kill him? As for whether your words are true or false, I will not take it seriously. Even if it is true, the experts of the Severing Emotions Dao sect were not in the academy at that time. Yuan Qin quickly restored her original expression. After saying that, she looked at Ning Cheng and spoke in a slow tone. If I really wanted to start, I would not have spoken so much nonsense with you. You can put forward your request. Ning Cheng wanted to hear these words. He took out a paper contract and spoke. We will go according to the contract. I only want half of the price of the geocentric 9 essence. In other words, you will have to give me 450 million spirit stones. As for the branch of the 7-colored mirage tree, we had already agreed that we would only advertise it and not auction it. Now you just have to return it to me. The 7-colored mirage tree, because you did not come to my profound light chamber of commerce in time, has already been sent out by us. This is your responsibility. We will give you 450 million spirit stones, and we will drop the matter. Yuan Qin's tone turned cold as she spoke. Ning Cheng gave a smile. Since it was sent out for auction, then give it to me according to the commission. However, this cannot be the 50% commission, but rather the normal commission for the auction. Then there is nothing else to say. As Yuan Qin spoke, she had already started. Not only did Yuan Qin start, but the rest of the people also started at the same time. Yuan Qin stared at the Nirvana spear in Ning Cheng's hands. She was sure that this spear was not simple. Unfortunately, although Ning Cheng took out the Nirvana spear, he did not intend to be the first to bring out this spear. At the same time that the profound light chamber of commerce started, he first brought out the 36 cosmic true devil axes. When Yuan Qin discovered that Ning Cheng still had 36 axes, the Nirvana spear immediately shot towards Yuan Qin. Even if Yuan Qin was a crucible transformation first-level cultivator, in the face of Ning Cheng's long spear, she would have to go all out to deal with it. The 36 cosmic true devil axes turned into 6 axe shadows as they shot out, 4 of which went straight towards the 4C opening realm cultivators, while the other 2 headed towards the profound light chamber of commerce's array entrance. Boom, boom, boom. The magical weapons collided with each other, causing bursts of true essence to erupt, which directly turned the room into nothingness. Even the array formation that Yuan Qin regarded as a barrier a moment ago also turned into nothingness at this moment. With the array formation gone, the profound light chamber of commerce's roof erupted with terrifying explosions, causing everyone to be able to see it clearly. The Grand Peace City was originally bustling and lively, but at this time, someone dared to fight on the roof of the profound light chamber of commerce's merchant house, which immediately attracted the attention of a large number of cultivators. Bang, bang, bang. Several explosions erupted. While Yuan Qin was blocking Ning Cheng's long spear, she was unexpectedly unable to help the other 4 people, causing her to suddenly feel shocked in her heart. Puff, puff. 2 bloods splashed out, as Song Yi and another first-level C opening realm cultivator's arms were directly sent flying by Ning Cheng's small axe. Stop! Regardless of whether they could kill Ning Cheng or not, since they were already outside, they could not continue to fight. Yuan Qin immediately called out to Ning Cheng to take action. The 4C opening realm cultivators of the profound light chamber of commerce stopped in time, but Ning Cheng was like a madman. His long spear once again shot out a spear shadow towards the 5 people. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying explosions erupted once again. Although Ning Cheng's long spear was blocked by Yuan Qin, but Ning Cheng's profound light chamber of commerce's merchant house had already been cut in half by Ning Cheng. The hundreds of cultivators of the profound light chamber of commerce were just like a disturbed beehive as they escaped. The onlookers outside the profound light chamber of commerce were secretly startled. Just who did the profound light chamber of commerce offend? unexpectedly provoking such a big trouble. This person was truly ruthless, even under the siege of the profound light chamber of commerce's crucible transformation cultivator, Yuan Qin, and the 4C opening realm cultivators. He still dared to act in such a crazy manner. Yuan Qin's complexion turned pale. However, she did not know whether it was due to anger or fear. She saw the 36 axes surrounding Ning Cheng's body once again give out a buzzing sound, and quickly spoke up, "I agree to your request." When Ning Cheng heard those words, he did not continue to rush forward. The strength of the profound light chamber of commerce was not something that could be represented by these 5 cultivators in front of him. Unless it was a last resort, Ning Cheng was not willing to form a blood feud with the profound light chamber of commerce. Moreover, the only purpose of him coming here was to take back the spirit stones. Although Ning Cheng did not rush forward, but the Nirvana spear in his hands still heavily stabbed into the roof of the building. Bang! Another half of the building turned into flying ash under his attack. Agree to my request? You are wrong. My request is not the same as what you just mentioned. Because you forced me to act, so I need to add a certain amount of compensation. Ning Cheng spoke out in a calm voice. Hearing Ning Cheng's words becoming more and more excessive, Yuan Qin's complexion turned even more ugly to look at. She was starting to believe the words spoken by Ning Cheng from before. Perhaps the ruckus in the Severing Emotions Dao sect was true. She really could not figure out how a sea-opening realm cultivator could have such powerful means. Let's go inside and talk about it. What are your specific requests? Seeing more and more cultivators gathering outside, Yuan Qin forcibly suppressed her anger. Chapter 415. You really are courageous. Are you not afraid of me using delaying tactics? After a while, would all the crucible transformation cultivators from the profound light chamber of commerce arrive? Once again entering a room on the ground floor of the profound light chamber of commerce, Yuan Qin's tone once again turned cold. Ning Cheng glanced at the 2C opening realm cultivators whose arms he had cut off, and spoke in a light voice. I showed mercy a moment ago, and only cut off 2 arms. Not killing the 2 of them is already giving you face. If your profound light chamber of commerce dares to send another crucible transformation cultivator and start against me, I will tell you right here, the profound light chamber of commerce will disappear from this day forth. Any building belonging to the profound light chamber of commerce in the Tian continent, as long as I come to know about it, I will turn it into dust. Are you threatening me? Yuan Qin suddenly stood up, her chest heaved up and down, unable to calm down at all. A trivial sea-opening realm cultivator dared to threaten her, a crucible transformation cultivator. No, it should be said that a trivial sea-opening realm cultivator dared to threaten her profound light chamber of commerce. Threatening you? You think too highly of yourself. I am threatening your profound light chamber of commerce. If you do not believe me, then let's try it again. I guarantee that you will not be able to walk out of the Grand Peace City alive. Ning Cheng gave a snort and spoke. Was it really that easy to take advantage of him? Yuan Qin's anger suddenly disappeared, and she unexpectedly showed a smile. I admit that you are very powerful, but I do not know where your confidence comes from. Do you think that my profound light chamber of commerce cannot deal with a trivial sea-opening realm cultivator like you? If I were you, I would definitely escape as far as I can. Ning Cheng knew that Yuan Qin was relying on the profound light chamber of commerce. As such, he simply spoke out. Since you recognize who I am, then you should also understand that even if the profound light chamber of commerce is powerful, it is not necessarily stronger than my Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Your profound light chamber of commerce has many crucible transformation cultivators, but my Rainbow Fall Sword sect also has many crucible transformation cultivators. Yuan Qin suddenly laughed. Rainbow Fall Sword sect? You should not have returned to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect recently, right? Then let me tell you a piece of news that will surprise you. 7 days ago, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect suffered a sneak attack by an unknown powerhouse, causing the entire mountain protecting Grand Array to be blown to smithereens. Apart from Ray Baishan and 2 others who managed to escape with serious injuries, the rest of the crucible transformation cultivators from the sea were also killed. If I did not guess wrong at this time, There are still countless rogue cultivators trying to fish in troubled waters within the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. As for the original disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Speaking till here, Yuan Qin looked at Ning Cheng with ridicule in her eyes. Seeing Ning Cheng's complexion change so much that even his hands started to tremble, Yuan Qin once again added a barrel of oil and spoke, not to mention about the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, even the Rainbow Fall Sword peaks yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword, which was used to suppress the entire Rainbow Fall Sword, was also taken away. I estimate that in a few years, you will never hear of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect in the Tian continent again. Pa. Ning Cheng slapped the tea table in front of him, turning the tea table into fine powder. Su Anjin, it looks like I should have killed you 4 days ago. Ning Cheng's entire body was overflowing with murderous aura, causing the 2C opening realm cultivators in the room to subconsciously take a step back. Even Yuan Qin felt a powerful pressure. Such a powerful cultivation, Yuan Qin's complexion turned ugly to look at. She had thought that Ning Cheng had taken advantage of the light from the 36 best quality true artifact axes a moment ago, which allowed him to display an extraordinary display of power, causing her to suffer a small loss. Now it seems that Ning Cheng had not used his full strength. Although he said that he was lenient, it was not just nonsense. When she heard Ning Cheng mention Su Anjin, she couldn't help but feel slightly moved in her heart. Was it Su Anjin who did it? Wasn't it said that Su Anjin had used a forbidden technique to severely injure herself, causing the Severing Emotions Dao sect to seal themselves off from the outside world? How could she possibly come out and destroy the Rainbow Fall Sword sect? How many spirit stones did you sell the branch of the 9-colored mirage tree for? Hearing that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect had met with an accident, Ning Cheng was not in the mood to stay in this place and earn some spirit stones. Not to mention the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, even Rui Baishan and Bei Youfa had once saved his life. He had heard that Rui Baishan was incomparably powerful, so why would Su Anjin, who was severely injured, succeed in killing him? The branch of the 9-colored mirage tree was, of course, still in the hands of the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce. However, the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce would definitely not take out this branch for the time being. Now that Ning Cheng was feeling anxious in his heart, Yuan Qin knew that her purpose had already been achieved. As such, she simply fabricated a number and spoke, 2 billion spirit stones. The branch of the 9-colored mirage tree was definitely worth more than 2 billion spirit stones. Yuan Qin certainly would not speak too much about it. She knew that Ning Cheng was definitely not in the mood to discuss this with her. Let me ask you another question. Are you sure that the one who attacked the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was a single person? Ning Cheng's tone no longer had the carelessness from before. Yuan Qin replied, I heard that it was a man and a woman, but I am not sure about the specifics. You give me 2 billion spirit stones, and we will not owe each other anything in the future. Otherwise, I will not take even a single spirit stone, and will leave immediately. Ning Cheng spoke out in a categorical manner. He suspected that Su Anjin and another person had attacked the Rainbow Fall Sword sect together, which caused Rui Baishan to be seriously injured, causing him to be unable to take care of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. After Yuan Qin heard Ning Cheng's words, she simply took out a ring and placed it in front of Ning Cheng without any hesitation. Here are 2 billion spirit stones, give it to me, and we will be even. Yuan Qin's voice just fell when she found that the ring had disappeared, while Ning Cheng had also disappeared. There were also 2 crystal balls on the table. Such a fast speed, Yuan Qin was secretly startled in her heart. Even with her crucible transformation cultivation, she could only vaguely see Ning Cheng's shadow disappearing outside the Grand Peace City. Little Miss Qin, who dared to be so bold as to destroy my Profound Light Chamber of Commerce's merchant house? An angry voice arrived, followed by a violent aura rushing over, followed by a gray-haired old man standing at the door of the room. Deacon Liu, I've taken care of this matter, for the time being. Yuan Qin finished, then turned to Song Yi and spoke, Shopkeeper Song, you will immediately rebuild the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce. I will immediately go with Deacon Liu to see the association head. Also, you were a bit reckless today. If I had not come, then the 4 of you would have already died. Yes, Little Mississippi, Song Yi quickly replied with a bow, although he also felt some lingering fear in his heart. He had never seen a sea-opening realm cultivator as powerful as Ning Cheng. When Ning Cheng saw the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect once again, he almost could not believe it. The originally magnificent Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, at this moment, was filled with billowing smoke. The Academy's mountain-protecting Grand Array had disappeared, while many rogue cultivators were still fighting with the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's disciples on the Rainbow Fall Sword Stone. Not only the Rainbow Fall Sword Stone, even inside the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, there were also many rogue cultivators. Ning Cheng quickly discovered that the highest cultivation here was only in the Soul Essence realm. As for cultivators above the Soul Essence realm, there was not even a single one of them. On the periphery of the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, there were dozens of powerful spiritual consciousnesses sweeping into the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, but none of these cultivators were below the Soul Essence realm. In this moment, Ning Cheng understood what was going on. The Rainbow Fall Sword Sect was attacked by experts, causing the higher cultivation cultivators in the Academy to either escape or be killed. The ones who stayed behind were the disciples who did not want to leave the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, or were some of the die-hard loyalists. As for the cultivators on the periphery who were using their spiritual consciousnesses to investigate, they were all waiting for an opportunity. These people were most likely people from the major academies. Since the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's disciples had not yet left, as such it would not be good for them to openly occupy the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. They could only wait for these rogue cultivators to drive away the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's disciples, and then use the excuse of the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect to openly drive away these rogue cultivators and occupy the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. The Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's disciples were currently at a disadvantage. Coupled with the hidden cultivators from the other academies outside, it was only a matter of time before these die-hard loyalists of the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect were driven away and killed. Even if there was a lot of smoke, a huge battle disc appeared in the sky above the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, causing everyone to notice it. Some of the cultivators who were in the middle of fighting were also staring at this black battle disc. Many of them did not know what this thing was. Ning Cheng stood at the entrance of the battle disc and spoke out in a clear voice. All the people who are not from the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, get the hell out of the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect for me, otherwise you will be killed without mercy. All the disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, take out your identity cards. Who the hell do you think you are? Just having a flight-type magical weapon is amazing. Immediately, a rogue cultivator roared out. Some of the rogue cultivators even brought out their flight-type magical weapons, wanting to rush towards Ning Cheng's battle disc. Sifting Orchid, fire the Spirit Stone Cannon, do not be afraid of friendly fire. Ning Cheng was simply too lazy to care about these rogue cultivators, and directly ordered the battle disc to fire the Spirit Stone Cannon. He believed that once the Spirit Stone Cannon came out, those Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's disciples would definitely take out their identity cards. With the Rank 5 battle disc scanning system, it would definitely be able to distinguish them. Boom boom boom. The black battle disc Spirit Stone Cannon shot out, causing a white light akin to a meteor shower, instantly enveloping the entire Rainbow Fall Sword Stone. The Rank 5 battle disc could even kill off a Soul Essence cultivator, not to mention these ordinary rogue cultivators who were fishing in troubled waters. Screams soon intertwined with each other, while blood sprayed everywhere. No matter what kind of cultivator it was, no matter where they hid, all of them were blasted into slag by the battle disc Sifting Orchid's Spirit Stone Cannon. The Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's disciples immediately understood, as almost all the disciples took out their identity cards and raised them up. The identity cards of the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's disciples all contained images and auras. With Ning Cheng's identity jade card as a reference, the battle disc Sifting Orchid was able to easily scan it. In just the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, which was still fighting a moment ago, had turned into an Azura hell. Those rogue cultivators who wanted to fish in troubled waters immediately covered their heads and fled. Unfortunately, there were only a few cultivators who could escape before the battle disc's scanning system arrived. Beasts who kill innocent people, die for me. Two shadows passed through the battle disc Sifting Orchid Spirit Stone Cannon rain and rushed towards Ning Cheng. The spirit stone cannon rain, which could turn ordinary cultivators into dust, in front of these two shadows, looked just like real raindrops, without any effect. Facing two early-stage sea-opening realm cultivators, Ning Cheng did not wait for the two of them to arrive in front of the sifting orchid, before he took the initiative to rush out, while simultaneously blasting out with 12 axes. The two sea-opening realm cultivators had just arrived in front of Ning Cheng when they felt the surrounding space solidifying under Ning Cheng's imposing aura. Not waiting for them to bring out their magical weapons, the 12 axes had already split into 2 axe traces and arrived in front of them. Not good, it's a crucible transformation cultivator. One of the sea-opening realm cultivators only had enough time to call out a few words, before several axe shadows pierced through his body. His whole body also turned into several pieces before falling down, dying on the spot. The other sea-opening realm cultivator did not even have the opportunity to speak before he was killed by the 6 axe shadows. Chapter 416. Ning Cheng almost instantly killed 2 sea-opening realm cultivators, causing the rest of the cultivators hiding on the sidelines to feel incomparably shocked. For a while, no one dared to come up. Letting Ning Ruolin and the others come out of the miniature world and enter the battle disc, Ning Cheng also briefly explained the situation. Only then did Ning Cheng let the battle disc stop firing the spirit stone cannons. Ning Cheng then came out of the battle disc and landed on the Rainbow Fall Sword Stone with the few people who came with him to the Tian continent. The disciples on the Rainbow Fall Sword Stone stood there quietly, listening to Ning Cheng's words. From now on, all cultivators who are not from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect must immediately leave the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's territory. Otherwise, you will become an enemy of my Rainbow Fall Sword sect and will be killed without mercy. All the disciples who belong to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, no matter where you are, immediately gather at the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Sword Stone, otherwise you will be expelled from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Ning Cheng loudly declared from the Rainbow Fall Sword Stone. His voice was transmitted out through his true essence. With his powerful spiritual consciousness and true essence, he could clearly hear his words from almost any place within the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Some of the rogue cultivators hiding in the corners, ready to fish in troubled waters, heard this voice, as if they were listening to a celestial voice. They immediately rushed out, desperately rushing out of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. The battle disc sifting orchid's crazy massacre was something that everyone could see. If the spirit stone cannons continued to fire, then these rogue cultivators would not dare to save their own lives. Some of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples hiding in the corners of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect also came out and gathered at the Rainbow Fall Sword Stone. Most of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's cultivators above the soul sculpting realm were killed, while some of them managed to escape. Only less than 10% of the cultivators remained. Besides those who could not escape, there were also some cultivators who did not want to leave the sect. Previously, no one had come out to take the lead, but now that Ning Cheng stood up, it immediately became a focal point. Seeing Ning Cheng easily wipe out the rogue cultivators and drive them away, they couldn't help but sigh. The experts hiding in the periphery also started to think about leaving. Even if they wanted to destroy the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, they would need at least crucible transformation cultivators. Although they were sea-opening realm and soul-sculpting realm cultivators, they certainly did not have the strength to do such a thing. The fact that this person could instantly kill 2 sea-opening realm cultivators was a good example for them. With the first sea-opening realm cultivator leaving, the rest of the cultivators also left. In the absence of sufficient external forces, at least for now, no one was willing to go head-to-head with an expert like Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was very clear in his heart that this was just the calm before the storm. None of these cultivators were crucible transformation cultivators. It was not that the crucible transformation cultivators did not like the Rainbow Fall Sword sect and were not willing to come over, but rather they were afraid of falling into people's mouths. Now that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect looked like it was on the verge of death, someone definitely would not let go of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. The crucible transformation cultivators were all famous existences. If any crucible transformation cultivator came, it would mean that they represented the academy. But if ordinary sea-opening realm cultivators came here, Who would know who they represented? Even if they found out which sect they belonged to, they could just say that it was the cultivator's own personal behavior. There were so many rogue cultivators in the Rainbow Fallsword sect, but why was there not a single cultivator above the soul sculpting realm? Were all the cultivators in the soul sculpting realm and above that had low moral standing? Certainly not. Then there was only one reason, that is, all the cultivators in the soul sculpting realm and above were ganged up on, and had no choice but to leave the Rainbow Fallsword sect. He, Ning Cheng, had come here under special circumstances. He had broken the balance, and the onlookers, who were ready to be the fishermen, did not expect it. Since he had come here to break the balance, then there would definitely be more powerful experts who would come here to kill him and continue to plot against the Rainbow Fallsword sect. These were all Ning Cheng's own imagination. He had been in the true cultivation world for such a long time, and had long since understood a lot of things. Are you really senior apprentice, Brother Ning? A pleasantly surprised voice arrived. Hey, Zhang Qian, you still haven't left the academy? Yes, I am Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng, on seeing an acquaintance, also felt very happy in his heart. Compared to the past, Zhang Qian had changed a lot. Not only was his murderous aura overflowing in all directions, but he was also showing off his sharpness, without the cowardice that he had shown in the past. Ning Cheng did not know whether it was because of the changes that occurred after Zhang Qian advanced to the soul essence realm, or because of his influence. Zhang Qian clenched his fists and spoke, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, after I heard about the things that happened in the Heavenly Dao public square, I immediately took the transmission array and came back. Those big academies are extremely insidious, each and every one of them secretly. Ning Cheng nodded, let's talk about this later. Then Ning Cheng counted the cultivators on the Rainbow Fallsword Stone, and found that there were less than 1,000 people. Initially, when he was in the Rainbow Fallsword sect, even the inner sect disciples numbered in the tens of thousands. From this, it could be seen that the current number was less than 1 in 100. Fellow junior apprentice brothers and junior apprentice sisters, I am Ning Cheng of the Rainbow Fallsword sect, and also Ning Cheng who took first place in the great meet of the Heavenly Dao public square. Today's matter is urgent, so I will make a long story short. The Rainbow Fallsword sect is facing a crisis of extermination. As such, there are many things that I do not have the time to talk about. Therefore, I will temporarily take the position of the acting sect master of the Rainbow Fallsword sect and reorganize the Rainbow Fallsword sect. If you do not want to stay in the Rainbow Fallsword sect, or if you do not accept me, then please feel free to leave, I will not stop you. If you want to stay in the Rainbow Fallsword sect, then you will have to defend the sect together with me. Ning Cheng knew that he had to recognize this acting sect master. Even if there were people who did not accept him, he had to do so. If no one stood up, then the Rainbow Fallsword sect would eventually fall into chaos. After Ning Cheng finished, he found that not a single disciple was willing to leave the Rainbow Fallsword sect. Good, all the people here are the true disciples of my Rainbow Fallsword sect. Because there are some academies that want to fish in troubled waters that would not give up, it is estimated that there would soon be crucible transformation cultivators coming over. Now I need to repair the mountain protecting Grand Array, and then seal up the Grand Array. I ask the disciples who understand array formations to come forward and assist me in arranging the mountain protecting Grand Array. After Ning Cheng finished speaking, 6 cultivators immediately came forward. Ning Cheng found that among these disciples, there was one that he recognized. It was the old man guarding the small spiritual domain with the cultivation of soul essence 2nd level. Li Yen greets Sect Master. Li Yen is a Tier 5 array formation master. Please instruct me, Sect Master. The old man, on seeing Ning Cheng recognize him, quickly came forward and gave a respectful bow. Ning Cheng felt overjoyed in his heart as he quickly spoke to the rest of the cultivators. I will now go and repair the mountain protecting Grand Array. As for the rest of the people, I will leave them to Junior Apprentice Brother Zhang Qian. Junior Apprentice Brother Zhang Qian, remember the few things that you have to do. The first is to put out all the fires in the academy. The second is to protect the Method Depository Pavilion, the small spiritual domain, the raw materials, the medicinal pills, and other important places. If anyone covets the academy's properties, immediately behead them. Although they still had some doubts about Ning Qing wanting to repair the Academy's mountain-protecting Great Array, but if Ning Qing came forward to do these things, then it would be much better than a pile of loose sand. All the people quickly obeyed Ning Cheng's orders, and under the leadership of Zhang Qian, scattered in all directions. Although the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was huge, these 1,000 people scattered in all directions were simply too inconspicuous. Ning Cheng did not immediately go to repair the mountain-protecting Grand Array. Rather, he instructed Nen Yuefang and Yang Honghua to follow Zhang Qian to do some things, while he let Ruo Lan and the others follow him, and first went to the Rainbow Fall makeshift market's transmission array to seal it. After sealing the transmission array, Ning Cheng took Li Yan and the others to the array base that had been blasted open. When Ning Cheng saw the broken array base, he immediately realized that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain-protecting Grand Array was a result of a coordinated attack from both inside and outside, all of them simultaneously breaking open the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain-protecting Grand Array was also a peak rank 8 array formation. As such, even if it was an ordinary cultivator above the Crucible Transformation realm, if they wanted to attack the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, they would immediately be discovered. However, if there was a traitor, then it would be a completely different matter. Sect Master, this array formation is a rank 8 array formation, the few of us. A profound core 7th level cultivator spoke up with some concern. Don't worry about it, just follow my method. Li Yan, you and the others, while I am throwing down the array flags, arrange the array flags in the corresponding positions. Ning Cheng spoke, while taking out a pile of array flags, which he had already refined a long time ago. As a Tier 7 array formation Grandmaster, although Ning Cheng did not have the means to arrange a rank 8 array formation, but if he wanted to repair the mountain-protecting Grand Array with a broken array base, then he would be able to do it. Seeing Ning Cheng constantly dropping down the array flags, while constantly communicating with the spiritual veins of the mountain-protecting Grand Array, while also constantly pointing out the corresponding positions to the rest of the people, Li Yan and the others finally believed that Ning Cheng had the ability to repair this mountain-protecting Grand Array. The few of them were even more in awe of Ning Cheng, and were also working even harder. Ning Cheng knew that he only had 1 or 2 days at most. It was not that the other academies would need such a long time to come here. Rather, before he appeared, if the other academies wanted to send Crucible Transformation cultivators over, then they would have to go through a process of discussion. Coupled with the fact that he had sealed off the transmission array, it would take even longer for him to come here. Half a day and a night passed by, and the next day, when the sun had just risen, the entire Rainbow Fall Sword sect erupted with bursts of roaring sounds. The remaining disciples who were still busily working around the Rainbow Fall Sword sect looked at the outside of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect in shock. The roaring sounds a moment ago were definitely the sound of the mountain-protecting Grand Array closing up and then sealing off the mountain. Everyone could feel it. They did not think that Ning Cheng would really have the ability to repair the mountain-protecting Grand Array. Not only did he repair it, but he was also able to seal off the mountain-protecting Grand Array. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect had sealed off the mountain. Even if they had a deep hatred with the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, they would have to wait until the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain-protecting Grand Array was opened. If they forcibly broke through the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain-protecting Grand Array, then it would only lead to a situation where they would have to fight to the death. Under normal circumstances, no one would dare to forcibly break open the mountain-protecting Grand Array of others. For this kind of thing, one would not be able to find an ally. Who could be sure that their own academy would never seal off the mountain? Li Yan and the others were even more excited to the point that tears came out. They did not expect that as a small disciple, they would one day be able to participate in the restoration of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain-protecting Grand Array. This was an honor that would later be recorded in the history of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Kong Xing, Wei Yong, the two of you will guard the entrance to the mountain-protecting Grand Array. If those people come here, or if anything happens, immediately report it to me. The rest of you will come with me to the main peaks discussion hall. After Ning Cheng sealed off the mountain-protecting Grand Array, he finally felt relieved. Yes, Headmaster. Since Ning Cheng had repaired the mountain-protecting Grand Array, there was no need for him to say anything. His prestige had already been established. This kind of mountain-protecting grand array, with the help of a few low-level disciples, it only took him a day and a half to repair it, causing him to feel very satisfied in his heart. What's going on? Wasn't the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain-protecting grand array already broken? Why did they seal off the mountain? A meteor-like airship stopped outside the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain-protecting grand array, while the originally devastated Rainbow Fall Sword sect disappeared. Instead, there was only a grayish expanse, which was obviously caused by the mountain-protecting grand array. Chapter 417. Lei Junfeng had raped Rainbow Fall Sword sect's deputy sect master Dan Wenyao's Dao companion, Bei Xiaolin, and even snatched away the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's treasure, the Glaze Scroll. However, because Lei Junfeng was incomparably powerful and had good aptitude, no one was willing to accept this mission. Boom! At this moment, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain-protecting grand array once again gave out an explosion. Ning Cheng's complexion immediately changed. He did not think that these people would really dare to attack the mountain-protecting grand array that was already sealed. It seems that they had already shed all pretense of cordiality. Ning Cheng felt that Zhang Qian had matured a lot, and was also very satisfied with the things he did. Zhang Qian, you should first gather the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples to the main peak's assembly hall. Li Yan and I will come over immediately. The gray-robed man had already pulled out the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword. The gray-robed man wanted to escape, but was blocked by Rui Baishan. At this time, that female cultivator once again rushed up to besiege Rui Baishan. Rui Baishan once again suffered severe injuries, and under the siege of several people he was gradually forced out of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Since Li Yan was guarding the small spiritual domain, it was obvious that he was very well informed. Hearing until here Ning Cheng completely understood, it seems that it was not like what the profound Light Chamber of Commerce had said, where only 2 people managed to break through the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. However, it was not just 2 people. Rather, it should be said that it was a man and a woman who had joined hands to deal with Rui Baishan. Li Yan sighed and said, I wonder if Sect Master knows of Bei Xiaolin? Ning Qing knew that the situation should be like this, but he did not care about it. If it was him, and the sect was about to be destroyed, he would also leave the sect to find a way to survive. The cultivation method that Rui Baishan cultivated was the 9 revolutions Rainbow Fall. Every time he advanced to the next revolution, it was the most dangerous time, and also the time when Rui Baishan's strength was at its weakest. At this time, the traders of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect had joined forces with the people from the outside to attack the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Their purpose was definitely to kill Rui Baishan. However, Rui Baishan's strength was just too formidable. Even if he was plotted against by others, he was still at the turning point of his cultivation. Not only did he not end up dead, he even managed to kill several Crucible Transformation cultivators, while fighting them while walking away. I know this person. She was originally the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's deputy sect master Dan Wenyao's Dao companion. Ning Qing nodded. Beast, even if my 9 revolutions Rainbow Fall is wasted, I will still kill you. Rui Baishan's murderous aura skyrocketed, and several rainbow-like rays of true essence shot out. The handsome youth was directly blasted flying, while Xia Belin violently spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and fell from the sky. Lei Junfeng, you bastard who deceived your master and destroyed your ancestors. You even colluded with outsiders to sneak attack my Rainbow Fall Sword sect. I, Rui Baishan, must have been blind to have taken a fancy to a wild wolf like you. Rui Baishan's aura was in disarray, apparently showing that he was already seriously injured. Beth Xiaolin? Ning Cheng felt that this name was very familiar to him. His memory was extremely powerful. As soon as this name appeared in his mind, he immediately remembered it. Initially, when he had gone to pick up the quest, it was to capture the traitorous disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, Lei Junfeng. Apparently, he was Rui Baishan's disciple, Lei Junfeng. The reward for this mission was very generous, and he found out about it from a fellow disciple named Jin Liangan. This disciple has been in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect for nearly 700 years, and has also been guarding the small spiritual domain for nearly 200 years. Li Yan replied with a bow. But Ning Qing did not care about it. Whether he was the acting sect master or not, he was still a sect master. Moreover, his cultivation was also much higher than Li Yan's. Earth's method of respecting the older generation was obviously not suitable for this place. This was a premeditated and organized operation to exterminate the sect. Although it had something to do with him, it was definitely not entirely because of him. Ning Qing frowned and asked with some doubts, "Li Yan, isn't there something wrong with what you said? How could Sect Master Ray be afraid of two people besieging him?" "Li Yan, how long have you been in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect?" As for the rest of the high-level cultivators of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, it was almost the same as what he had guessed. The people who secretly attacked them either killed them or forced them to flee. Those people who plotted against the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, the reason why those people with high cultivation did not immediately occupy the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was not because they were noble. Rather, it was because they wanted to invade the Rainbow Fall Sword sect in the name of justice. That is, when those rogue cultivators outside killed all the disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, they would then kill all the rogue cultivators inside, in the name of taking revenge for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Sect Master, Li Yan really does not deserve to be addressed as senior. Sect Master can just call me Li Yan. Li Yan, on hearing Ning Qing address him as senior, quickly bowed and spoke up. At this moment, there was only a kind of killing intent throbbing in his chest. He knew that since this matter had already reached this point, then even if he wanted to pass through this peacefully, it would be impossible. Li Yan spoke up with certainty, "I did not see it wrong. If not for Sect Master Rui, I would have already lost my life." "Sect Master, someone is attacking our Grand Array." Kong Xing rushed over in a panic. Rui Baishan also spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. Just when he was about to continue killing Lei Junfeng, a violent explosion suddenly erupted from the top of the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. At the same time as the explosion, the other gray-robed middle-aged man who besieged Rui Baishan quickly rushed to the top of the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak and simultaneously threw out several array discs. Seeing Ning Qing nod without speaking, Li Yan once again spoke up. "Most of the disciples who chose to stay in the sect this time are older and know that they have no hope of advancing. They are the same as me and do not want to run around, so they simply decided to stay in the sect. Junior apprentice Brother Zhang, who has a bright future and is willing to stay. In fact, there are not many of them." Li Yan gave out another sigh. The matter between Bei Xiaolan and Lei Junfeng, everyone knows about it. Everyone knows that Lei Junfeng harmed Bei Xiaolan. Deputy Sect Master Dan Wenyao truly loved his Dao companion Bei Xiaolan to the extreme. Even if Bei Xiaolan ended up being defiled by Lei Junfeng, he did not scold Bei Xiaolan. Instead, he comforted Bei Xiaolan. It's just that Bei Xiaolan did not have the face to come out again and chose to stay in the brilliant Sword Peak for secluded cultivation. Ning Qing nodded. Li Yan had a soul essence cultivation, and his lifespan was only about 800 to 1,000 years. Now that so many years had passed, it could be seen that his lifespan was coming to an end. After the few people left, only Ning Qing, Li Yan, Ning Ruolin, Jileve, Lian Yi and Tai Shu Pingho remained. Ning Qing then asked, "Senior Li, countless Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples who rushed forward ended up being killed by that female cultivator. Although Rui Baishan managed to kill a few Crucible Transformation cultivators, he was still outnumbered. With his strength reduced, there was no way he could contend against so many experts. Zhang Qian, bring your men and follow behind me. Li Yan, take a few people who are proficient in array formations to defend the mountain-protecting Grand Array. I will go out and deal with this trash." Ning Qing raised his hand, and the Nirvana spear immediately fell into his hands. These bastards, they really think that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect is easy to bully. Ning Qing's anger flared up in his heart. Sealing off the mountain meant that they were afraid of you, yet you still dared to destroy the mountain-protecting Grand Array. In the cultivation world, it was no different from slapping people in the face over and over again. It was too much. Even so, there were still 3 people besieging him. Apart from a woman, there were 2 men. One was a middle-aged man dressed in gray, and the other was a handsome young man with a slender figure. Do you know the long-eyebrowed elder from the Method Depository Pavilion? Where did he go? Ning Cheng had once visited the Method Depository Pavilion, and he vaguely felt that the long-eyebrowed elder was not simple. Beilan. Seeing Xia Beilan's life or death unknown, Lei Junfeng immediately rushed up and hugged Xia Beilan. Rui Baishan did not expect that the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak would have a traitor. He immediately abandoned Lei Junfeng and wanted to rush up the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. However, he ended up surrounded by another female cultivator and several crucible transformation cultivators. Ning Cheng was just about to call Ning Ruolin and the others to head to the main peak's main hall to wait for him when Zhang Qian hurriedly rushed out with thousands of people. Apparently, they also knew that someone was trying to destroy the mountain protecting Grand Array. Sect Master, I have arranged everything on my side. The most important thing is that the Method Depository Pavilion's array formation has not been destroyed yet. Zhang Qian happily came over to report to Ning Cheng. He did not expect that senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng would have such a great ability to repair the mountain-protecting Grand Array. It wasn't until this incident that I saw Bei Xiaolan, Lei Junfeng and another man besieging Sect Master Rui. It was only then that I realized that Lei Junfeng did not rape Bei Xiaolan, but committed adultery. Li Yan, what I want to ask you is how did our mountain-protecting Grand Array break? Since Sect Master Rui is so powerful, then who could have seriously injured Sect Master Rui? Ning Cheng guessed that Li Yan should know a few things. After all, he was an old man from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Although Ning Ruolin knew that true cultivation could prolong one's lifespan, she still felt surprised when she heard that this old man was more than 700 years old. The slender and handsome youth spoke up without any hurry. Master, looking at our many years of friendship, as long as you take out the thing, I guarantee that nothing will happen to you. Otherwise, with Master's 8 revolutions broken, would you even be able to walk away? Ning Cheng frowned. He vaguely felt that the spiritual vein had something to do with the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. It just happened to appear at the same time as Rui Baishan went into seclusion. No one did not know about the preciousness of a spiritual vein. Even the Rainbow Fall Sword sect only had a broken spiritual vein. Once a complete spiritual vein appeared, it would be normal for the 3 Grand Elders plus Deputy Sect Master Tan Tai Fei, as well as the Long Eyebrows and the others to rush over. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect's crucible transformation cultivators suffered heavy casualties. Even Rui Baishan went missing. The rest of the cultivators either died or escaped, causing the entire Rainbow Fall Sword sect to fall into chaos. As Li Yan spoke, a scene from a few days ago appeared in his mind. Moreover, Rui Baishan had not been killed. If any faction dared to openly occupy the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, then they would definitely suffer the revenge of Rui Baishan in the future. Taking advantage of a burning house, it was not a matter of a single faction, but rather many factions acting together. Even if Rui Baishan was powerful, he would not be able to find so many factions to retaliate against in the future. The Severing Emotions Dao sect had already killed so many crucible transformation cultivators, causing them to seal off their mountains. As such, no one would be willing to come and provoke them. A month ago, because the Rainbow Fall Sword sect found a suspected spiritual vein in the Shattered Canopy Mountains, the Red Star Sword faction and the Star Gathering Mansion also found the spiritual vein at the same time. Because Sect Master Rui was in seclusion, and because this spiritual vein was very important, Deputy Sect Master Tantai invited Elder Zhong Liping and the 3 Grand Elders from the Method Depository Pavilion to go to the Shattered Canopy Mountains, but did not come back. Chapter 418. Boom Boom. A series of muffled explosions rang out. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain ceiling Grand Array has opened. The cultivators surrounding the Rainbow Fall Sword sect immediately retreated. Everyone knew what this meant. Once the protective mountain formation was completely activated, the mountain would be sealed. Sealing the mountain meant that the grudges were temporarily settled. Once someone attacked the mountain sealing formation, it would be a fight to the death. If the Rainbow Fall Sword sect did not want to accept this kind of endless battle to the death, then they would have to send someone out to request for conditions, In other words, they would have to pinch their nose and kneel down to beg for peace. At this time, they had to agree to any conditions. Otherwise, the sect would be destroyed. If they didn't send anyone to sue for peace after being attacked by others, and even wanted to reopen the array door, it meant that the two sides would officially fight to the death. The moment the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's mountain ceiling grand array opened, all the cultivators inside and outside turned silent. However, no one really thought that this kind of endless struggle would have any big impact on them. After all, the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect was already on the verge of collapse. As such, in the face of a crucible transformation cultivator, they would not be able to resist at all. Ning Cheng motioned Zhang Qian and the others to not come out of the array formation, and stood at the edge of the array entrance, ready to rely on the array formation to resist at any time. Only then did he come out of the mountain protecting grand array, as his eyes swept over the cultivators in the vicinity. This time, there were at least a few hundred cultivators present. Moreover, even the weakest among them had a higher cultivation compared to the one with the highest cultivation in the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, Li Yan. My Rainbow Fall Sword Sect has already sealed off the mountain, yet you still want to bully my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. Could it be that my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect is a soft persimmon that you can pinch at will? After Ning Cheng swept his eyes over the people around him, he spoke in a very calm tone. Using this kind of light tone to speak, just when everyone thought that Ning Cheng would admit defeat, Ning Cheng suddenly spoke up in a stern voice. Which beast was it that attacked my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's mountain ceiling grand array a moment ago? Come out for this, father. The surrounding people were startled. This wasn't right. How could a trifling sea expansion cultivator dare to be so arrogant? Could it be that he was putting on a strong front but was actually weak inside? Seeing Ning Cheng's gaze sweep towards them, the profound light chamber of commerce's Yuan Qin quickly spoke up. My profound light chamber of commerce had heard that a rogue cultivator wanted to attack the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. As such, we came to see if the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect needed our help. The profound light chamber of commerce had sent 2 crucible transformation cultivators along with 3 sea opening realm cultivators. Ning Cheng certainly understood Yuan Qin's words. Even though they didn't say that they were here to take advantage of him, the meaning behind their words was clear. That is, even rogue cultivators from the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect dare to bully their sect. Although we did not destroy your Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's mountain protecting grand array, we do not fear your Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. If your Rainbow Fall Sword Sect is willing to come up with something, then we can watch from the sidelines. Ning Cheng's gaze swept through the crowd. Except for Yuan Qin, who took the initiative to explain, the other academies did not even bother to speak. They were different from Yuan Qin. Yuan Qin had already seen Ning Cheng's moves, and was somewhat afraid of Ning Cheng, while the other academies did not have even half a shred of fear towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not speak to Yuan Qin or the rest of the academies. Instead, his gaze was fixed on the people from the Red Star Sword faction. He already knew that the people who attacked the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect were from the Red Star Sword faction. Huh! A sickly-looking cultivator from the Red Star Sword faction suddenly laughed. Even if this old man attacked your Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's mountain-protecting grand array, what about it? Ribaishan killed a crucible transformation cultivator from my Red Star Sword faction, yet you little bastards slandered my Red Star Sword faction's disciple Jiang Jun. Ning Cheng did not wait for this sickly-looking man to finish his words, as he rushed forward just like a shadow. If that is the case, then you can go to hell. Ning Cheng had long since disliked this sickly-looking man, Red Star Sword faction's Tang Guangxi, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 3rd level. Today, he dared to attack the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's mountain-protecting grand array. As such, Ning Cheng was determined to use him to establish his prestige. Courting death. Ning Cheng was just a trivial sea-opening realm cultivator, yet he dared to take the initiative to challenge him, a Crucible Transformation 3rd level cultivator. Tang Guangxi's anger caused his white face to turn red. With a wave of his hand, 7 faintly discernible fire beads shot towards Ning Cheng, and in just a blink of an eye, the surroundings turned into a sea of fire. In the eyes of the people nearby, Ning Cheng and Tang Guangxi had completely disappeared, replaced by a scorching hot fireball. This kind of scorching heat, gave people the illusion that it could even burn down the space around them. Of course, this was just an illusion. AI. A beautiful woman from the star-gathering mansion gave out a sigh. Elder Tang is just too stingy. To deal with a sea-opening realm cultivator, he even brought out 7 South Fire beads. After she came to know that this sea-opening realm cultivator was Ning Cheng, she felt somewhat guilty in her heart. After all, Ning Cheng had saved the people from the star-gathering mansion, yet now her star-gathering mansion had followed him here to loot a burning house. However, this kind of thing was something that she could not do anything about. Her star-gathering mansion was not the only one who came here. As the 7 South Fire beads wrapped around Ning Cheng instantly felt as if his entire body was being roasted. It was not until this time that Ning Cheng brought out his long spear, which was able to block the 7 South Fire beads. The long spear transformed into a black spear dragon, which entangled the 7 South Fire beads. Even if that was the case, Ning Cheng still could not help but gasp for breath. It seemed that the scorching hot aura coming from the South Fire beads was something that he could not bear. This little bastard really does have some skills. Just advancing to the sea-opening realm and you think that you are the best under the heavens. Today this old man will let you see that there is always someone better than you. Although Tang Gongxi spoke those words, but in his heart he was extremely shocked. He did not think that Ning Cheng, with just the cultivation of a trivial sea-opening realm, would actually be able to block his 7 South Fire beads. It was simply too shocking. Thinking back to a few years ago, Ning Cheng was still a profound core cultivator, and now he was already a sea-opening realm cultivator. Tang Gongxi was even more eager to kill Ning Cheng in his heart. After he killed Ning Cheng, he wanted to take away Ning Cheng's corpse. This cultivator definitely had a big secret. Without a big secret, this kind of cultivation speed, even in the Tian continent for countless years, there were only a few. The flames from the 7 South Fire beads suddenly soared, just like a sun that had suddenly been filled with countless fuel. The flames were incomparably dazzling. Even a person with a poor cultivation would not be able to use their spiritual consciousness to sweep through it. Under the roasting of this kind of flame, Ning Cheng's aura became even more dispirited. His long spear, which had transformed into a spear-intent black dragon, was finally unable to entangle the 7 South Fire beads, causing the black aura to instantly weaken. As the black aura weakened, Ning Cheng's aura became even more dispirited. Seeing Ning Cheng's dispirited aura within the 7 South Fire beads, Tang Gongxi grinned and shot out another red light. As soon as this red light came out, it immediately turned into 2 red lights. The 2 red lights had not yet arrived in front of Ning Cheng, when they once again turned into 4 red lights. This was also one of the magical weapons that made him famous, the Li Flame Diffraction Sword. His main spiritual root was fire attributed. Not only was his magical weapon fire attributed, but even his attack methods were mainly fire attributed. Ning Cheng seemed to know that he had to go all out, as such he once again raised his hand, bringing out another 12 axe lights. Of these 12 axe lights, 5 of them managed to block the Li Flame Diffraction Sword, while the remaining 7 all clashed with the dispirited long spear black dragon, once again blocking Tang Gongxi's attack. Tang Gongxi was surprised in his heart. Originally he just wanted to end this fight quickly. He did not expect Ning Cheng to be so resilient, to the point of being able to block his Li Flame Diffraction Sword. This was definitely not something that a sea-opening realm cultivator could achieve. However, when he saw Ning Cheng's soybean-sized beads of sweat dripping down, he felt slightly relieved in his heart. It looks like Ning Cheng was already an arrow at the end of its flight. As long as he sent out another attack, Ning Cheng would definitely die. Not only Tang Gongxi, even the rest of the surrounding cultivators also had their eyes flickering. Ning Cheng's cultivation had progressed so quickly, if one said that he did not have any secrets, then it was absolutely impossible. If Tang Gongxi killed Ning Cheng, then they would not even be able to drink the leftovers. Do not look at these people who had not taken the opportunity to attack the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. That was because they knew that as long as Tang Gongxi killed Ning Cheng, someone would be able to act as the vanguard. This kind of matter of offending people, it would be better to leave it to the Red Star Sword faction. After all, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Rei Baishan had not died yet, As such, it would always be beneficial for everyone to have a backup plan. Now that Tang Gongxi and Ning Cheng were fighting like this, and were still unable to kill Ning Cheng, it caused some of the people to start thinking about it in their hearts. The surrounding people were filled with killing intent. An expert like Tang Gongxi could immediately perceive it. He knew that he had to kill Ning Cheng in the shortest possible time. Just when Tang Gongxi was about to bring out his trump card, suddenly 6 axe lights once again shot towards him. The 6 axe lights formed into 6 different axe lines. These axe lines were filled with a kind of tragic aura, as they split apart everything in their surroundings, before fusing together as they chopped towards Tang Gongxi. Not good. This little bastard had not even used his full strength. Tang Gongxi instantly understood. He did not even think about it before bringing out a huge copper bell. At this moment, he understood that Ning Cheng's cultivation was not worse than his own. Dang 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 dang. The axe lines and the copper bell exploded together, giving out a tragic and mournful sound, just like a funeral bell. The 2 crucible transformation cultivators who wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to rush forward suddenly stopped in their tracks. The berserk true essence rushed over, as if it wanted to tear apart his meridians, causing Tang Gongxi to spit out a few mouthfuls of blood. At this moment, he understood that Ning Cheng was not only not worse than him, but was also much stronger than him. Moreover, it was not just by a little bit. Tang Gongxi only had a single thought in his mind at this moment, that was to quickly retreat, and then besiege this little bastard. He regretted bringing out the mythical flame spectral sword. If he had not brought out the mythical flame spectral sword, then he could have used the mythical flame spectral sword to withdraw from the fighting space between the 2 of them. However, even if that was the case, Tang Gongxi believed that he could still retreat. Tang Gongxi had just thought of this, when the Nirvana spear, which was entangled with the 7 south fire beads, suddenly changed its dispirited appearance and turned into a living black dragon. It directly cut through the space between the 2 of them, as it shot towards Tang Gongxi's glabella. A formidable oppressive force along with a sharp murderous intent erupted from the spear intent. Tang Gongxi was horrified to find that even with his cultivation at Crucible Transformation 3rd level, he could not resolve the murderous intent of the spear intent. Such a powerful spear, it caused Tang Gongxi's soul to shatter. Crazily twisting his body, he wanted to withdraw from the spear intent that had locked onto him. Puff! Even if Tang Gongxi twisted his body, the Nirvana spear still managed to pierce through his waist, bringing out a trail of blood. Tang Gongxi gave out a sigh of relief. He knew that he managed to escape with his life, causing him to feel a bit of pride in his heart. Facing such a terrifying spear intent, he unexpectedly managed to escape, without letting the long spear pierce through his glabella. This was definitely something to be proud of. He was sure that he had never seen such a terrifying spear intent before. Puff 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 puff. Another 6 trails of blood erupted from Tang Gongxi's body, causing Tang Gongxi's joy to stagnate in an instant. He could only watch as his body was cut into 7 pieces by the 6 small axes. Only then did he realize that Ning Cheng did not have 18 axes, but 24. At the same time, he also understood that Ning Cheng's spear did not intend to pierce through his glabella. The Red Star Sword faction is finished. This was his last thought. Chapter 419. Such a powerful spear intent. None of the cultivators here were weak. As such, when Ning Cheng brought out his majestic spear intent, the surrounding cultivators immediately sensed it. Everyone's faces turned ashen. If they were to face this kind of spear intent, how would they deal with it? The terrifying and scorching aura of the South Fire Pearl instantly converged. Then, everyone saw Tang Guangxi's corpse, which had been chopped into 7 pieces, falling to the ground, followed by a rain of blood. At the same time, all of Tang Gongxi's magical weapons disappeared. Even Ning Cheng, who was fighting against Tang Gongxi, also disappeared at this moment. Other than a few intermediate-stage Crucible Transformation cultivators who were able to clearly see how Ning Cheng killed Tang Guangxi, the rest of the cultivators could not even see how Ning Cheng won. Elder Tang was killed. A soul-sculpting realm cultivator from the Red Star Sword faction had just spoken those words when Ning Cheng arrived. The The 12 cosmic True Devil axes transformed into a killing array, completely surrounding the dozen or so cultivators below the crucible transformation realm. The long spear brought out one formidable spear intent after another, causing the spear intent to flash in the midst of the cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction. Bursts of pitiful screams accompanied by splashes of blood mist erupted. At this moment, the area where the Red Star Sword faction stood had turned into an Azura hell. This sporadic counterattack, in the face of the 12 cosmic True Devil axes killing array, simply did not play any role. In just less than the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the entire place turned quiet. Ning Cheng stood over the corpses of the cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction that he had killed, with a calm expression on his face. At this time, the 12 small axes had disappeared, and only a long spear without any spiritual chi fluctuations remained in his hands. This time, it was really quiet. No one spoke. In the history of the Tian continent, no, in the history of the Yixing mainland, there had never been such a fierce sea-opening realm cultivator. Even if Ning Cheng did not say anything, some people already suspected that Ning Cheng had concealed his cultivation. Yuan Qin of the profound Gateway Chamber of Commerce felt a chill run down her spine. She also knew that Ning Cheng had said that he had shown mercy. Now that she saw Ning Cheng's actions, she realized that he had not only shown mercy to the profound Light Chamber of Commerce. The smell of blood was still pervading the air. No one spoke and no one moved. Everyone knew that even if they joined forces to kill Ning Cheng today, this place would turn into a river of blood. If they were not careful and failed to kill Ning Cheng, then in the future, their academy would turn into a river of blood. Just Ribaishan alone was enough to make people feel dread, but no one expected that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect would also end up with Ning Cheng. If they had known that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect had such a monster, they definitely would not have come to this place. At this time, Ning Cheng did not speak. Once he left first, it would show that he had a guilty conscience. Maybe he would become the next target of Ning Cheng's revenge. Did they not see that Ning Cheng had used 12 axes to arrange an entrapment array with a formidable axe intent, and then used his long spear to kill all the people from the Red Star Sword faction? Didn't you see that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain-protecting grand array was repaired? A crucible transformation cultivator who was able to jump levels to kill enemies was already very terrifying. If this crucible transformation cultivator was also an array formation grandmaster, then the word terrifying would not be enough to describe him. Moreover, some of the crucible transformation cultivators also knew that Ning Cheng did not only have 12 axes, he actually had 24 axes. Only Yuan Qin, who was covered in a cold sweat, knew that Ning Cheng simply did not have 24 axes. She did not understand why Ning Cheng had to use 36 axes to deal with her. It was reasonable to say that Ning Cheng should not have used his full strength. In fact, she did not know that after Ning Cheng advanced to the 3rd level of the sea-opening realm, his consciousness was still at the 1st level of the sea-opening realm when he fought against Guiba. Yuan Qin's strength was much higher than Guiba's. Moreover, she also had the help of 4 sea-opening realm cultivators, coupled with the entrapment array of the profound Light Chamber of Commerce. Therefore, Ning Cheng had overestimated the strength of the opposite party, and had brought out 36 axes at that time. If it was now, he would only need to bring out 12 axes to deal with it. Ning Cheng's gaze swept over the shocked faces of the other cultivators, before he spoke up in a cold tone. My Rainbow Fall Sword sect does not bully other academies, nor is it in existence that people can bully. Those who attack my Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain ceiling grand array will be killed without mercy. My Rainbow Fall Sword sect's sect master was plotted against by Su Anjun and the others. Do you think that because my Rainbow Fall Sword sect does not have sect master Rui, it would be easy to bully? I, Ning Cheng, am the current Rainbow Fall Sword sect's sect master. Any academy that attacks my mountain-protecting grand array will become my Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mortal enemy. In the past, when I was still in the Soul Essence realm, I was already able to kill my way into the Severing Emotions Dao sect. Now that I am only a step away from advancing to the Crucible Transformation realm, why would I be afraid of some demons and monsters trying to fish in troubled waters? If they want to deal with my Rainbow Fall Sword sect, then I, Ning Cheng, will take it all on. Even if I am not their opponent today, in the future, I will treat them the same way I treated the Severing Emotions Dao sect, and pay them a visit one by one. Ning Cheng, in order to increase his deterrence, had deliberately raised his cultivation by a few levels. The surroundings turned silent. Ning Cheng's words were a blatant threat. These crucible transformation cultivators were extremely shrewd and did not care about it at all. However, some of the cultivators with lower cultivations were so angry that their faces turned extremely ugly. Unfortunately, they were not Ning Cheng's opponent. At this moment, even if Ning Cheng revealed the matter of Su Anjin coming out, no one paid any attention to it. However, Ning Cheng's words were not even half a bit wrong. When the other party had the cultivation of Soul Essence Realm, they already dared to barge into the Severing Emotions Dao sect. Now that they were about to advance to the Crucible Transformation Realm, why would they be afraid? In contrast to these cultivators, the remaining nearly 1,000 people from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect were clenching their fists in excitement. Some of the younger cultivators even felt their bodies heating up, as hot blood rushed straight to the top of their heads. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect did not have a Crucible Transformation Elder, so what? With Sect Master Ning here, the others would not dare to resist, and the Red Star Sword faction would not be able to survive. Ji Lefei stood at the entrance of the array formation, as she softly looked at Ning Cheng's back. If there were no one here, she would have already rushed over. The person who deterred many of the top academies from making a move was none other than her man. Good, there are still people from my Rainbow Fall Sword sect who can stand up at this time. Looks like the heavens have not forsaken my Rainbow Fall Sword sect. A loud voice arrived. Everyone did not know when, but 3 people had appeared in this place. Ning Cheng, on seeing the cultivator who spoke, felt overjoyed in his heart, as he quickly came forward and gave a salute. Ning Cheng greets Sect Master Tantai. Since Sect Master Tantai has returned, then I can step down from my position as the acting sect master. To be honest, there were simply too many academies here, as such Ning Cheng was afraid that a fight might really break out. Even if the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was powerful, it would not be able to form an enmity with so many academies. Moreover, Ning Cheng knew 2 of the 3 people who came here. Apart from Deputy Sect Master Tantai, there was also a Long Eyebrow. The Long Eyebrow was the old man he had seen in the Method Depository Pavilion. No, we fell into the trap of luring the tiger out of the mountain, and ended up trapped in a place. We already know the reason for it. Not long ago, the people who trapped us suddenly left, allowing us to use the transfer talisman to come back. Ning Cheng, I am optimistic about you. Since Sect Master Ray is not here, then you are the most suitable person to be the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's sect master. Tantai Fei did not hesitate to reject Ning Cheng's words. Yes, I initially thought that you were a disdainful disciple, but it looks like I was wrong about you. Just based on what you said before, you are the best candidate for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's sect master. After Rui Baishan comes back, he will definitely take the initiative to give up his position to you. The long-eyebrowed old man spoke with a satisfied tone. When Ning Cheng heard those words, he immediately understood that this long-eyebrowed person was not simple, and even had a higher status compared to Rui Baishan. These 2 are my Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Method Depository Pavilion's Elder Taoist Zhongli Ping and Elder Taoist Yi Heong. Alas, Elder Taoist she died because of this matter, and could never come back. Tantai Fei gave out a sigh, before introducing the other 2 people to Ning Cheng. Congratulations to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's 2 Elder Taoists and Deputy Sect Master Tantai for coming back. We had heard that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect needed support, so we came to take a look. Now that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect is fine, it is for the best. My Yin Yang Dao sect will now take its leave. A middle-aged man with a long beard came forward with a smile and spoke with cupped fists. Tantai Fei was just about to speak, when he suddenly remembered that Ning Cheng was now the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's sect master. He quickly turned to Ning Cheng and spoke, "Sect master, this is Yin Yang Dao sect's Elder Chu Xiu." Ning Cheng understood the meaning of Tantai Fei's words. He stood up and cupped his fists towards the people around him, before speaking out in a clear voice, "I know the purpose of you coming here today." Hearing Ning Cheng's words, the faces of many cultivators turned a bit ugly. If this kind of thing came out, then it would only bring shame to everyone's faces. Even if the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was powerful, could it become an enemy of so many factions at the same time? Tan Tai Fei felt anxious in his heart. He wanted to remind Ning Cheng not to be too straightforward and point things out. Some things were not something that could be easily pointed out. Ning Cheng acted as if he did not see Tan Tai Fei's eyes, and continued to speak out in a clear voice. Previously, Profound Light Chamber of Commerce's Little Miss Yuan also said that everyone knew that my Rainbow Fall Sword sect suffered a sneak attack, causing the sect to suffer great losses. Therefore, you specifically came here to help. On behalf of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, I would like to thank the enthusiasm of the various factions. In the future, if such a thing happens to any of your factions, my Rainbow Fall Sword sect will not fall behind. However, this matter has nothing to do with any of you. Moreover, we can't let you come here to help our friends. Not only do you have to contribute resources, but you also have to contribute. Today, I will not entertain any guests. Because I have just become the sect master of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, I do not know many of the factions here. I hope that you can introduce yourselves before you leave, so that I can keep it in mind. When the crowd heard this, they immediately understood that this was a shameless act. This was equivalent to asking for something, but not directly saying it out loud. Before leaving, he had said it out loud, indicating that he knew how many things the faction had sent as compensation. If they gave something, then everyone would know that they were even. If they did not give anything, then this sect Master Ning would definitely remember it. The beautiful woman from the Star-Gathering Mansion was the first to stand up, and took the initiative to walk in front of Ning Cheng. Taking out a ring, she gave a sweet smile and spoke. He Jinru, on behalf of the Star-Gathering Mansion, supports the Rainbow Fall Sword sect with 100 million spirit stones, plus a certain amount of materials. Many thanks for Elder Sister He's generosity. Ning Cheng will not find an excuse to decline. Ning Cheng received the ring without hesitation, as he thanked her without feeling any pain or itch. The Star-Gathering Mansion was one of the top 10 academies. Since they had taken the lead, then the rest of the people, whether they were from the top 10 academies or not, did not fall behind. One by one, they took the lead to give out their things and quickly left. At this time, even if the factions did not want to take out their things, they would still have to think about it. Everyone took out their things, but if they did not take out their things, then who knows if Ning Cheng would secretly make a move? No, he would definitely make a move. Didn't you hear that he would keep it in mind? A person who even dared to sneak attack the Severing Emotions Dao sect? Who would he be afraid of? Along with the arrival of the academies, one by one, they left behind their cultivation resources and bought insurance against sneak attacks before leaving. Coupled with the return of the 3 powerful Crucible Transformation Elders from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, everyone knew that the crisis of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect had temporarily come to an end. Chapter 420. Good, Ning Cheng, you did a good job. Now that you have become the sect master of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, my Rainbow Fall Sword sect is bound to rise to the next level. After everyone returned to the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak, the long-eyebrowed Taoist Elder Zhong Liping was the first to praise Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, "Let Elder Tantai be the academy head. I need to put my time into cultivation, and do not have the energy to manage the affairs of the academy. Moreover, we also have to guard against a counterattack from the Red Star Sword faction." Tan Tai Fei waved his hand. "Sect Master Ning, you don't have to worry about it. You can continue to be the sect master of my Rainbow Fall Sword sect. After that, I will go into seclusion at the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak to cultivate. As for the mundane affairs of the academy, just leave it to me. The Red Star Sword faction would definitely not dare to come knocking on our door." At the same time, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples who were stranded outside would also slowly return. Ning Cheng was also quite satisfied. The Rainbow Fall Sword Peak was the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's main peak. Not only was the spiritual chi the richest, but the environment was also the best. Green hills and clear waters. This was his ideal training ground. The people around him could all stay and cultivate at the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. Sect Master Ning, Sect Master Tantai. This time the Heavenly Dao Public Square is holding the Yi Xing Mainland's disciple recruitment. Because of the sudden change in my Rainbow Fall Sword sect, Elder Ing had to bring the rest of the people back first, but now there is no trace of them. Not only did we fail to recruit any outstanding disciples, we even lost contact with Elder Ing and the others. Zhang Qian said. Zhang Qian only had the cultivation of Soul Essence first level, but because of his great contribution to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's sect protecting war, coupled with the fact that many of the people from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect were separated from each other, Zhang Qian was put in an important position by Ning Cheng. I guess that it was done by the Red Star Sword faction. The Red Star Sword faction and my Rainbow Fall Sword sect have long had a rift between us. This time, it seems like they have been planning this for a long time. Yi Heiyang, one of the two grand elders who had returned, said hatefully. He had been cultivating wholeheartedly and this time, he was very unhappy that he had been trapped by an array formation. If not for Tantai Fei saying that the current strength of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was far inferior to that of the Red Star Sword faction, he would have already gone to their doorstep. Tantai Fei understood the meaning behind Yi Heiyang's words. He hesitated for a moment before speaking. This time when the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was attacked, the Red Star Sword faction would definitely be the main force behind it. However, just a mere Red Star Sword faction alone would not dare to do such a thing to my Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Previously, Sect Master Ning had said that he had seen Su Anjin in the Yi Xing Ocean, so it is certain that the Severing Emotions Dao sect was secretly involved in this matter. Coupled with the fact that there is a traitor within the sect, there are also some uncertain factors. As such, our Rainbow Fall Sword sect can only rest and recuperate to restore our strength. The implication behind his words was that the Red Star Sword faction did not dare to continue looking for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Similarly, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect did not have the strength to seek revenge from the Red Star Sword faction. The long-eyebrowed Grand Elder Zhong Liping also spoke up in agreement. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect really does not have the strength to attack at this moment. Regardless of how many forces came together to deal with my Rainbow Fall Sword sect, these people would definitely not come again. At most, it would be the Red Star Sword faction that would come. Moreover, I agree with Tantai Fei's statement, at least in the short term, the Red Star Sword faction would not dare to come here. Ning Cheng did not know much about these inside stories, so when he heard Zhong Liping's words, he immediately asked, "What does Elder Taoist Zhong mean?" Tantai Fei knew that Ning Cheng had joined the Rainbow Fall Sword sect for the shortest time. As such, he quickly explained, "Those forces are only joining forces for two treasures of my Rainbow Fall Sword sect. The first is the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword, and the second is the small spiritual domain. The small spiritual domain came back with us, as such no one would dare to openly snatch it. Moreover, if the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword was taken away by others, then even if the other side cooperated with each other, they would still end up fighting each other for this sword. As for the Red Star Sword faction, we are currently unable to make a move against them. Sect Master Tantai, I'll have to trouble you to gather the scattered disciples of the academy. Zhang Qian, although your cultivation is low, but your ability to handle matters is quite good. Help Sect Master Tantai, and settle down the academy's affairs." Ning Cheng was very clear that although he had easily killed Tang Guangxi, it was not enough. This was because he was fighting on his home ground. If he went to provoke the Red Star Sword faction, then his strength would not be enough. Even if Tantai Fei did not remind him, he knew that he had to continue cultivating. Zhang Qian stood up and spoke, "Yes, Sect Master. However, this time the Heavenly Dao Public Square has some cultivators from the Lu continent. They seem to know Sect Master." "Who are they?" Ning Cheng immediately interrupted Zhang Qian's words and asked. Zhang Qian replied, "I only remember a few: Yan Ji, Nailan Rushue, Zhang Sun Yen, Bei Xingjin, Qing Yixiao, Luo Banyan. Whoever touches him, I will kill them." Yan Ji's face had already emerged in Ning Cheng's mind. Compared to Nailan Rushue's fickleness, Yan Ji's kindness had left a much deeper impression on Ning Cheng. Suddenly he wanted to see Yan Ji. Handing over the academy's affairs to Tan Tai-fei and Zhang Qian, Ning Qing brought Ning Ruolin, Ji Luofei and the others to the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. He introduced Lian Yi and Tai Shu Pingho to Yi Heiyang as disciples. Although Lian Yi's qualifications were not good, Ning Qing was still the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's sect master, as well as the person who protected the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. With this bit of face, Yi Heiyang could not reject it. Moreover, after experiencing this matter, he felt that he should also leave behind a successor. The Rainbow Fall Sword Peak was the main peak of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, with a wide and incomparably beautiful area. Ning Qing not only rebuilt a new immortal cave, but also spent a lot of time to rearrange the array formations. Ning Ruolin, Ji Lufei, Nen Yuefang and Yang Honghuo were all people he brought with him, but their cultivations were not high. As such, they could only stay here and cultivate. Not to mention that the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak spiritual qi was already very rich. Ning Qing himself was an Earth Pill Grandmaster. As such, the resources he left behind in the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak were more than enough for the few of them to cultivate. Ji Luofei knew that the gap between her and Ning Qing was just too big. As such, she did not dare to delay even a little bit, and worked hard to improve her own cultivation. From Ning Qing, she already knew that big sister Shi Qianghua had a crucible transformation cultivation, while she was still lingering in the essence-building realm, which made her secretly determined to catch up. Ning Qing did not go into seclusion. He wanted to see the cultivators from the Le Continent, but he mainly wanted to see Yan Ji. Moreover, he also wanted to consult the long-browed Grand Elder Zhong Liping on how to speed up his cultivation. Ning Qing felt that his cultivation speed using spirit stones was too slow. For others, advancing a level in a year was already considered very fast. However, Ning Qing still felt that it was too slow. This was not his feeling but rather a bottleneck. During his cultivation, he could clearly feel that the amount of spiritual qi he absorbed had become a bottleneck for him. He could obviously cultivate faster, but unfortunately, there was no better spiritual qi for him to absorb. If it were replaced by the old fogey or the crystal stones given by Meng Jingxiu, his cultivation speed would definitely soar. It was also because of this bottleneck that Ning Qing intended to see the cultivators from the Le Continent, while at the same time asking Zhong Liping about it. After all, the other party's age and strength were already in front of him. You said that you can obviously progress faster, but the amount of spiritual qi you absorb is always insufficient? Zhong Liping looked at Ning Qing in doubt and asked. This was the first time he had heard of such a situation. Generally speaking, during cultivation, one could not absorb too much spiritual qi, lest it be transformed into true essence. It was not that one would always feel that it was insufficient no matter how much spiritual qi one absorbed. No wonder Ning Qing was so powerful, able to kill crucible transformation cultivators with the cultivation of Sea Opening Realm. He had unexpectedly reached the point where spirit stones were not enough for his cultivation. From this, it could be seen that the laws in this place were not enough for Ning Qing to comprehend a higher level. He knew that Ning Qing definitely had some secrets, however, he did not want to ask about Ning Qing's secrets. I understand your situation. I have 2 ways to provide you with them, you can refer to them yourself. After Zhong Liping sorted out Ning Qing's words, he spoke up in an affirmative manner. Ning Qing was pleasantly surprised as he gave a respectful bow and spoke, Please advise me, Grand Elder. He had only come here to ask just in case, but he did not expect that there would really be a way. These old seniors really were different from the others. Being older was also an advantage. Zhong Liping nodded and accepted Ning Qing's greeting before speaking. The first is to find a higher grade spiritual source than spirit stones. Ning Qing on hearing this felt slightly disappointed in his heart. He already knew about this, but how could he find such a crystal stone? The reason why Meng Jingxiu was able to obtain it was because she was recognized by the Immortal Mansion as its master. However, he did not have such good luck to have the Immortal Mansion recognize him as its master. Zhong Liping was a man of the world, and was able to see the disappointment in Ning Qing's heart with a glance. He showed a faint smile and spoke. For example, a crystal stone that surpasses this world. This kind of thing can only be found but not sought, and is extremely rare. The second is to find a spiritual vein. Although spiritual veins are extremely rare in the Yixing mainland, it does not mean that they do not exist. Spiritual veins are better for cultivation than spirit stones. Ning Cheng asked in amazement. He knew about spiritual veins, but he already had billions of high-grade spirit stones on him. For him, spiritual veins were just SOS. Zhong Liping shook his head slightly and spoke, "No, spiritual veins and spirit stones are two different concepts. Spirit stones can be dug out as long as you can find a spirit stone mine. Based on the purity of the spiritual qi contained within, it can be divided into high, medium, low, and best quality. But spiritual veins are a whole. Not only do they contain spiritual qi, but they also contain a kind of heaven and earth law. This kind of heaven and earth law is much more effective in cultivation compared to spirit stones that contain spiritual qi. It is beneficial to the cultivator's perception, and is also beneficial to the absorption. Therefore, most of the academies use spiritual veins to arrange spiritual gathering arrays. Generally speaking, in a world where the heaven and earth law is relatively complete, there would be more spiritual veins formed. But in a place where the heaven and earth law is incomplete, such as our Yixing mainland, the spiritual veins formed are extremely rare. Even if there are spiritual veins, most of them are of average quality, or even incomplete spiritual veins. Ning Cheng suddenly understood. He had only heard about spiritual veins before, but he had always confused spiritual veins with spirit stone mines. The only thing he understood was that these things were rare, and could be used to arrange array formations for academies. Only now did he understand that there was actually such a difference. No wonder the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's grand elders were cheated away by the appearance of a spiritual vein. If the Rainbow Fall Sword sect added a spiritual vein, then the cultivation speed of all the disciples would definitely be a lot faster. Zhong Liping continued, spiritual veins are also divided into good and bad ones. With your current situation, a low-grade spiritual vein should not have any effect on you. At the very least, you would need a medium-grade spiritual vein or a high-grade spiritual vein. If you can find a best-quality spiritual vein, of course, that is impossible. Ning Cheng gave a wry smile. If he could find a spiritual vein, then would the Academy's grand elders be cheated away because of the appearance of a spiritual vein in the Shattered Canopy Mountains? For him, this method was like trying to see the moon in the water. Ning Cheng was already somewhat disappointed, but Zhong Liping still continued to strike at him. Even if you can find a high-grade spiritual vein for you, it would only be a temporary solution. Chapter 421. I ask Elder Taoist Zhong to give me some pointers. Ning Cheng quickly bowed once again to ask for advice. This kind of opportunity was extremely rare. He had never had a master to teach him. If he did not ask for advice at this time, then when would he be able to ask for advice? In fact, there is nothing to point out. Just go to Heaven's Way and rush out of the Yixing mainland. The laws of the outside world are far more complete compared to the Yixing mainland. Only in such a complete world with complete laws would one have the hope of reaching a higher level. Zhong Liping stood up with a slightly flushed face, seemingly yearning for the Heaven's Way. Ning Cheng was just about to speak, when Zhong Liping waved his hand and interrupted Ning Cheng's words. With your identity as a sect master, it would be very simple for you to enter the Heaven's Way. However, I suggest that you should wait for a few hundred years before entering. After entering the Heavenly Road, no one has ever come out, and no one knows what kind of place it is after passing through the Heavenly Road. Even if Zhong Liping had not spoken about it, Ning Cheng would not be in such a hurry to go to Heaven's Way. His younger sister and his wife were both in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. As such, before the two of them had the ability to protect themselves, he would not easily leave the Tian continent. Even if he had to go, he had to bring her along. Elder Taoist Zhong, I heard that some people can use the void-cleaving talisman to leave the graceful star mainland. If you don't want to enter Heaven's Way, then you can use this method to tear through the interface of the graceful star mainland. Is it possible? Ning Cheng immediately recalled the talisman that Shi Qianghua had used to leave, as well as Zhang Wei using the heaven-opening talisman to help him return to Earth. Zhong Liping gave a self-deprecating smile and spoke, I have cultivated for countless years. Even if I am not as conceited as the top powerhouses of the Tian continent, I am still not much weaker than them. But to tear open the boundary, I can't do it in my entire life. Not to say that I can't do it, even if Su Anjin came, she wouldn't be able to do it. The I Ching mainland's heaven and earth laws were broken, causing the crucible transformation realm to reach the pinnacle. Although there was a realm above the crucible transformation realm, it did not have a clear boundary. If he couldn't even touch the realm of cultivation, it was clear that he couldn't reach the pinnacle of the world, let alone tear the world apart. Besides, the space-breaking spell is only recorded in antiquity times. I've never seen anyone use it. Ning Cheng understood the meaning behind Zhong Liping's words. If one wanted to leave the I Ching mainland, then there was only one way, and that was through Heaven's Way. Many thanks for Elder Taoist Zhong's guidance. Ning Cheng benefited a lot from it. Ning Cheng thanked him. He had indeed benefited a lot from coming here today. Zhong Liping showed a faint smile and spoke, "Let me tell you one more thing. Although we old fellows are not very smart, we are not stupid enough to be cheated by others." Ning Cheng immediately understood and asked in amazement, "Does the Shattered Canopy Mountains really have spiritual veins?" Yes, this old master is sure that the Shattered Canopy Mountains have a spiritual vein. Not only am I certain, but there are also people from the other major sects who know about it. However, this spiritual vein was concealed by a top-grade natural array formation, as such it could only be sensed occasionally. Perhaps it was not even in the Shattered Canopy Mountains. If your cultivation progress is really small, then I suggest you go to the Shattered Canopy Mountains to have a look. Of course, you also have to be careful of the people from the Yin Yang Dao Path and the Heavenly Dao Academy. The old guys from these two academies are very shameless. This sentence was what Zhong Liping really wanted to say to Ning Cheng. He did not want Ning Cheng to go to Heaven's Way right now. Of course, he wanted Ning Cheng to pull the Rainbow Fall Sword sect up again. Moreover, Ning Cheng's current cultivation was indeed a bit low. Since Ning Cheng was proficient in array formations, he might really be able to find a spiritual vein in the Shattered Canopy Mountains. Heavenly Dao Public Square. This was Ning Cheng's second time coming here. After he came to know from Zhong Liping that the Shattered Canopy Mountains might have a spiritual vein, he immediately decided to go to the Shattered Canopy Mountains to have a look. For other cultivators, a top-quality pill or countless spirit stones were cultivation resources. But for Ning Cheng at this moment, only a spiritual vein was his cultivation resource. This kind of extremely rare cultivation resource, if he did not compete for it, then it would never end up in his hands. Before going to the Shattered Canopy Mountains, Ning Cheng came to the Heavenly Dao Public Square. He did not expect the Rainbow Fall Sword sect to recruit many good disciples this time. Rather, he wanted to take a look at Yanji. The Heavenly Dao Public Square's recruitment of disciples by the major academies was coming to an end, but the place was still bustling with people. Now get the hell out of here for this father, an ant from the Lu continent, yet you dare to be arrogant in front of me. If not for the Heavenly Dao Public Square forbidding killing, this father would have already turned you into ashes. A disdainful voice entered Ning Cheng's ears. The two words "Le continent" immediately attracted Ning Cheng's attention. A young man with disheveled hair and a few bloodstains on his face was lying on the ground. His face was covered with bloodstains while a foot was stepping on his face. The young man from the Lu continent who was lying on the ground had the cultivation of profound core 7th level, but his aura was unstable, showing that his injuries were not light. As for the cultivator who was stepping on him, he had the cultivation of soul essence 3rd level. If it were a fight between the disciples of the academies, Ning Cheng would not have bothered to even look at it. He was also from the Lu continent, moreover he was here to look for Yanji. Since he encountered such a thing, he immediately walked over. "What's the matter?" Ning Cheng stepped forward but did not directly start. "It's none of your business, don't stir up trouble for yourself, get out of the way." The soul essence cultivator who was stepping on the profound core youth saw that someone had come over to meddle in other people's business and felt very unhappy in his heart. The profound core 7th level youth who was being stepped on was insulted in such a way, causing his mind to be in turmoil, but unfortunately he was unable to resist. Now that someone came up to inquire about the situation, he quickly spoke up, "Senior, this junior is Zhuang Jingyi, from the Le Continent's Zhuang clan. Because this person came to know that I had a pair of Blood River Red Lotuses on me, he wanted to forcibly take away my Blood River Red Lotuses, but did not honor his promise. I do not agree." Le Continent's Zhuang clan? Another familiar face appeared in his mind. "My name is Zhuang Xiangsha, and I am from the Le Continent's Zhuang clan. If you can get out in the future, I would like to ask you to bring me back to the Le Continent's Zhuang clan to Zhuang Wenhan." At this moment he felt a bit ashamed. After returning to the Le Continent, he was anxious to find Luofei, and then fighting with the Gui clan, causing his mind to be completely focused on this kind of war, causing him to forget about the matter of Zhuang Xiangsha for a time. Initially on the Law's Way, he had saved many cultivators who had entered the Law's Way, but when he was besieged, other than Zhuang Xiangsha who stood up to help him, none of the people he had saved before came forward to help him. Even if Zhuang Xiangsha was also saved by him, he still felt extremely grateful towards Zhuang Xiangsha in his heart. Finally, he helped Zhuang Xiangsha refine a coffin, and now Zhuang Xiangsha was still in his miniature world. "Senior?" Zhuang Jingyi, on seeing Ning Cheng in a daze, quickly called out. His qualifications were ordinary, but because he was the only son of the Manor Master, he was able to obtain a quota to enter the Tian continent. That pair of Blood River Red Lotuses was something he had prepared for public relations, with the purpose of entering a good academy in the Tian continent. Ning Cheng did not answer, as he lifted his foot slightly. The soul essence cultivator who had just stepped on Zhuang Jingyi heard a "catcha" sound, and immediately fell to the ground. This soul essence cultivator was extremely frightened in his heart. He knew that he had kicked an iron plate. This person had easily broken one of his legs with a kick, showing that this person's cultivation was definitely much higher than his. Ning Cheng took out a pill and handed it to Zhuang Jingyi, before pulling Zhuang Jingyi up and asked, "Who is Zhuang Xiangsha to you? Do you know who Zhuang Wenhan is?" Zhuang Jingyi quickly bowed and thanked him before carefully speaking, replying to "Senior, Zhuang Xiangsha is my elder sister, while Zhuang Wenhan is this junior's father." "Oh." Ning Cheng gave a sigh as he looked at Zhuang Jingyi and spoke, "I am called Ning Cheng. I do not know if you know me." Hearing Ning Cheng report his name, Zhuang Jingyi suddenly fell to his knees and spoke, "Many thanks Senior Ning for sparing my elder sister from the humiliation." This junior came to know from the Wu Nian Academy's senior apprentice brother Cheng Yixiao that at that time only senior apprentice brother acted. Ning Cheng pulled Zhuang Jingyi up as he took out a coffin and handed it to Zhuang Jingyi and spoke, "I should have gone to the Zhuang clan, but I was in a fight with the Guiyuan city. As such, I did not have the time to go to the Zhuang clan. Since I met you today, then I will leave it to you." Zhuang Jingyi took the coffin that Ning Cheng handed to him, as he placed it on the ground and burst into tears on the spot. Ning Cheng was unable to persuade Zhuang Jingyi. As such, he turned his gaze towards the soul essence cultivator whose leg he had broken. At this time, this soul essence cultivator's face was pale, and his entire body was trembling. Ning Cheng had displayed his godly might in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, causing him to have an illustrious reputation. How could he not know about it? "Senior, this junior had eyes but failed to see, eyes but failed to see." This soul essence cultivator spoke out in a terrified voice. Because of this commotion, a bunch of cultivators quickly gathered here. Ning Cheng simply did not care about how many cultivators there were in this place. As he raised his hand, the finger of this soul essence cultivator had already broken off, while his ring also disappeared. "Get lost, don't let me see you again." Ning Cheng coldly spoke out. Sect Master Ning truly has a great reputation and is truly awe-inspiring. Openly robbing a junior's ring in the Heavenly Dao public square, could it be that the Heavenly Dao Academy is just a piece of paper in the eyes of Sect Master Ning? A sarcastic voice arrived, causing the surrounding cultivators to give way. Everyone knew that a good show was about to start. Who did not know about Ning Cheng's illustrious reputation? Not only did he kill the Red Star Sword faction's Crucible Transformation cultivator, Tang Gongxi, outside the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, but he also killed all the other cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction who went to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Moreover, he even extorted dozens of academies for their spirit stones and resources. Just by relying on a single person, he managed to save the Rainbow Fall Sword sect from imminent destruction. Because Tang Gongxi had destroyed the sealed entrance of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, while Ning Cheng had killed all the cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction, there was simply no shortage of reasons. Moreover, no one dared to join hands to deal with the Rainbow Fall Sword sect because of this matter. However, now that Ning Cheng was the sect master of such a major academy, robbing a soul essence cultivator's ring, this kind of thing, once caught, would definitely be an opportunity. What's more, this person who came out to ridicule Ning Cheng was someone that many people knew, Yin Yang Dao sect's Crucible Transformation 7th level elder Rong Jin. Zhuang Jingyi quickly put away his elder sister Zhuang Xiangsha's coffin and stood behind Ning Cheng. With more and more Le Continent's disciples being selected by other academies, he now had nowhere to go. After today, he would become a rogue cultivator in the Tian continent, until he fell. Ning Cheng simply ignored the ridiculing cultivator as he looked at Zhuang Jingyi and asked, "Do you want to join any academy?" This disciple's qualifications are average, and currently there is no academy that would take a fancy to me. Zhuang Jingyi spoke with a gloomy face. "It doesn't matter, you can join my Rainbow Fall Sword sect in the future." Ning Cheng spoke without any care. Zhuang Jingyi had just heard this cultivator address Ning Cheng as sect master. Now hearing Ning Cheng speak about the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, he suddenly felt shocked in his heart. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect was one of the top 10 academies. How could Ning Cheng be the sect master? However, he quickly reacted, knowing that these things were not something he should think about, as he quickly bowed and spoke. Disciple Zhuang Jingyi thanks sect master Ning. While speaking, he already regarded himself as a disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Sect master Ning, you might not know who this is, right? This is Yin Yang Dao sect's Rong Jin. At this moment, another voice arrived. Who he is none of my business. Why would I know him? Ning Cheng spoke in a flat tone. He did not even look at the person who had just arrived. Chapter 422. This time, Ning Cheng knew who this person was, Heavenly Dao Academy's Crucible Transformation Cultivator, C. Rauha, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 5th level. A few years ago, when he participated in the great meet of the academies at the Heavenly Dao Academy's public square, Sun Hanrui had told him about it. Although Rong Jin's expression remained the same, his heart was filled with anger. In the past, his reputation was not inferior to the current Ning Cheng. Because of the sub-cave mystic realm, he killed 12 Sea Opening Realm cultivators when he was at the 7th level of Sea Opening Realm. Moreover, because of this matter, he ended up in conflict with the Spirit Refining sect. He even came to challenge the Spirit Refining sect alone, which resulted in the Spirit Refining sect sealing their mountain for 1,000 years. Even now, he was second to none in the Yin Yang Dao sect. Even Rui Baishan had to address him as Brother Rong. Ning Cheng was just a puny Sea Opening Realm cultivator. Just because he became a sect master, he acted so arrogantly, it was simply too shameless. How can my name be compared to sect master Ning Cheng's fame? Rong Jin spoke with a calm expression. Ning Cheng did not want to put on a nonchalant appearance in front of Rong Jin. Previously, among the many academies that went to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, Yin Yang Dao sect's Ji Xiu was not only the first to leave, but he also offered the least amount of compensation out of all the academies. One of the top 10 academies of the Tian continent only came up with 100,000 spirit stones, which was even worse than some of the trash academies. Rather than compensation, it was more like ridicule. If not for Ning Cheng not wanting to provoke public anger in that environment, he would have already beaten up Ji Xiu on the spot. He originally wanted to find trouble with the Yin Yang Dao sect, but now that the people from the Yin Yang Dao sect took the initiative to provoke them, how could he give face to this Rong Jin? If he was just too lazy to care about it before, then after knowing Rong Jin's identity, he immediately changed his mind. Since you know that no one knows your name, then get lost, don't delay this sex matters. Ning Cheng spoke without any trace of politeness. Rong Jin's ability to maintain his composure was high, but he could not help but sneer and speak. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect really has a lot of courage to have such a brilliant sect master. If everyone behaved in the same manner as sect master Ning, then everyone would no longer need to look around for cultivation resources in the future. Those with high cultivations could just rob those with low cultivations. Today, even if sect master Ning uses the name of the sect to suppress others, I will still seek justice for the ordinary cultivators. Even though Rong Jin's voice was not too loud, it had still attracted the attention of countless cultivators. Not to mention, Rong Jin wanted nothing more than to blow things up. Thus, the number of cultivators surrounding them grew. Ning Cheng spoke up in a sarcastic tone. I did not expect that you would spit out ivory from your mouth. It really is not simple. The Yin Yang Dao faction was secretly in cahoots with the Red Star Sword faction, and was the main faction that joined forces to deal with the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. It was just that one of them was in the light, while the other was in the dark. Ning Cheng did not have such good self-restraint, and needed to swallow his anger. His current strength was indeed unable to sweep across the Yin Yang Dao sect. However, against a mere Rong Jin, there was no need for him to endure. Hearing Ning Cheng calling him a dog in a roundabout way, Rong Jin almost attacked him. This puny early-stage sea-opening realm cultivator was just too arrogant. What did he rely on to offend the Red Star Sword faction, and even dare to provoke his Yin Yang Dao faction? Not waiting for Rong Jin to speak, Ning Cheng once again spoke up in a loud voice. Zhuangjing, you tell the people around here, what did this soul essence cultivator, whose leg was broken by me, do to you? Zhuangjing was equivalent to a young master in the Lu continent, but in the Tian continent he was timid, only because he understood that he was just an ant in this place. Now that Ning Cheng stood up to support him, he did not hesitate for even half a moment before speaking up in a loud voice. I come from the Lu continent, but because of my poor qualifications, I did not join any faction. This person is called Dong Su, and said that he is a disciple of the Great Change Island, and even took out his identity jade card. He told me that as long as I could come up with something good, he could bring me into the Great Change Island, and let me become an inner sect disciple of the Great Change Island. I thought that the Great Change Island was one of the top 10 academies, and would not do such a thing. So I said that I had a pair of Blood River Red Lotuses, but I did not expect that he would let me show him the Blood River Red Lotuses before taking them away. Moreover, he did not even acknowledge it. This is absolutely slander. I did not take his Blood River Red Lotus. Dong Su, who was sitting on the ground, immediately called out. He was not afraid of being checked. He simply did not have the Blood River Red Lotus on him. Even the ring that Ning Cheng took away did not contain the Blood River Red Lotus. If he could not do this, then he would not have dared to openly snatch away Zhuang Jingyi's Blood River Red Lotus in the Heavenly Dao public square. Rong Jin coldly stared at Ning Cheng and spoke. If you want to rob the things of a soul essence cultivator, then of course you have to find an excuse. If I hadn't seen you today, you would have probably succeeded. If you have the guts, then take out the ring and let everyone see if there is any Blood River Red Lotus inside. The matters of my Great Change Island do not require your Yin Yang Dao's intervention. A clear and cold voice rang out as a woman appeared before the crowd. Ning Cheng knew this woman. Her name was Tan Yun, Tan Yushan's elder sister. In the past, she only had the cultivation of 6th level of Soul Sculpting Realm, but now she was already at the 1st level of Sea Opening Realm. From this, it could be seen that she had gone all out to improve her cultivation in the past few years. However, this kind of cultivation speed could easily destroy one's foundation. Not everyone was like Ning Cheng, who had the support of an origin. So it turned out to be the Great Change Island's Tan Yun. Since your Great Change Island wants to bow down, then I, Rong Jin, have never said anything. I can only say that being a disciple of the Great Change Island is really not easy. Rong Jin's words could not be described as not ruthless. Saying such words in front of so many people, if Tan Yun really did not pursue the truth of the matter, then the reputation of the Great Change Island would definitely plummet. Tan Yun spoke up in a cold voice. My Great Change Island is one of the top 10 academies of the Tian continent. As such, I do not need others to teach me what to do. My Great Change Island's disciples will never bully the weak, nor will we allow others to bully us. If you can't even do this, then my Great Change Island will take the initiative to withdraw from the top 10 academies, lest we continue to lose face within the top 10 academies. If Tan Yun dared to speak to him in such a manner in a place with no one around, then Rong Jin would have already slapped Tan Yun into ashes. However, in the Heavenly Dao public square, he could only swallow it with a smile on his face. Dong Su, why don't you talk about this matter? What is going on? Tan Yun stared at the soul essence cultivator cowering on the ground and spoke. Elder Tan, this matter is unjust. Sect Master Ning took away my ring. There is no Blood River Red Lotus inside. It is just that Sect Master Ning heard that I had an essence soul fruit. When Ning Cheng heard this, he could not help but admire this person's ability to spread rumors. Although he did have an essence soul fruit in his ring, but he truly did not have a Blood River Red Lotus. However, Ning Cheng did not believe this person's words. This person had obviously taken away the Blood River Red Lotus. Otherwise, with Zhuang Jingyi's trivial profound core cultivation, and a cultivator from the Le Continent, how could he dare to slander a soul essence cultivator? This was simply courting death. Sect Master Ning, please return the ring of my Great Change Island's disciple to me. If the inspection is correct, and it is indeed my Great Change Island's disciple who robbed a lower-leveled cultivator, then I will definitely satisfy you. If not, then you will have to give me an explanation for harming my Great Change Island's disciple. Tan Yun spoke politely to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to throw Dong Su's ring back to Tan Yun. Of course, if someone slandered your island's disciple, then I would be the first to not let them off. Ning Cheng did not want to offend the Great Change Island. The reason why the Red Star Sword faction feared the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, in addition to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect itself, was that the Great Change Island was also a potential threat. Ever since Jiang Jun killed Tan Yushan in the past, these two academies had definitely become enemies. Ning Cheng handed over the ring to Tan Yun in public, showing his absolute trust in Tan Yun. With such an attitude, the surrounding people started to believe in Ning Cheng even more. After all, Sect Master Ning had once sold buckets of spiritual enhancement true nectar in the Cultivator Exchange main hall. For such a rich person, how could a mere essence soul fruit enter his eyes? After Tan Yun received the ring, she used her spiritual consciousness to easily break the restrictions placed on the ring. She then raised her hand, and a pile of things appeared in front of everyone. Tan Yun then raised her hand and opened a jade box. Inside the jade box was a pair of Blood River Red Lotuses. Dong Su stared at the pair of Blood River Red Lotuses with wide eyes as he muttered, "Impossible, absolutely impossible? Dong Su, now that this pair of Blood River Red Lotuses is here, what else do you have to say?" Tan Yun stared at Dong Su and spoke in a cold voice, "My Great Change Islands Academy's motto is to not bully the weak without any reason, nor to rob without any reason. Can you explain it to me?" "No, absolutely impossible. This pair of red lotuses is not mine. It is definitely not mine." Even if Dong Su cracked his brain, he still could not figure out how this pair of red lotuses came out. Blood River Red Lotuses were extremely rare. If this kind of thing could be found everywhere, then he would not have come here to snatch the Blood River Red Lotuses of a profound core 7th level cultivator. Ning Cheng suddenly asked, "Then what about your Blood River Red Lotuses?" "I teleported away." Dong Su's words suddenly came to a halt. He looked at the ridiculing eyes of the people around him, and realized that he had spoken the wrong words. This kind of verbal sneak attack made it impossible for him to guard against it. It was just like a person saying to you, "When I speak, don't say N, can you?" Your first subconscious answer would be N. In his mind, he was constantly thinking about how could there be a pair of Blood River Red Lotuses in this place. As such, he did not guard against anything else. Ning Cheng put away the pair of Blood River Red Lotuses and spoke, "You really are right. This pair of Blood River Red Lotuses really was not something that you snatched, because it was me who put them in." Tan Yun's complexion turned extremely ugly as she once again put the things back into the ring. She only took out an identity jade card, and then took out a jade box and put it into the ring. She then handed the ring to Zhuang Jingyi and spoke, "This is your compensation." Zhuang Jingyi was just about to refuse, when Ning Qing sent a sound transmission over, you don't have to refuse it, it is something that you deserve. That jade box from a moment ago contained a soul-condensing pill. After you return to the academy, you will have to find a way to condense your soul essence. Hearing the words soul-condensing pill, Zhuang Jingyi quickly bowed towards Tan Yun and thanked her. Many thanks, senior, for the generous gift. Tan Yun nodded, and then spoke to Dong Su. You are now no longer a disciple of the Great Change Island. Dong Su's complexion turned incomparably pale. He did not think that such a trivial matter would deprive him of his status as a disciple of one of the 10 major academies. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret. Although Rong Jin looked calm on the surface, he was actually cursing Dong Su as an idiot in his heart. As long as Dong Su did not speak the wrong words, he was confident that he could prove that Ning Cheng was the one who put the Blood River Red Lotuses into the ring. Sect Master Ning, I actually came here specifically to look for you. I just came from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. After dealing with this matter, Tan Yun spoke up to Ning Cheng. Rong Jin felt unhappy in his heart, as he gave a cold snort and spoke, Sect Master Ning. Not waiting for Rong Jin to finish his words, Ning Cheng immediately snapped at Rong Jin without any trace of politeness. So what if he was at Crucible Transformation 7th level? He simply did not fear Rong Jin. Chapter 423. That's right, do you know about the Gui Yuan City's Gui Bell? Ning Cheng asked again. He had not seen the Gui Bell in the Heavenly Dao public square. Ning Cheng ridiculed Rong Jin for not being the academy master, and as such, compared to him, Rong Jin also ridiculed Ning Cheng's cultivation for being too low, only at the sea opening realm. Since the emergence of the sect surpassing censure, very few academy heads would go up to challenge it. Even if it was a crucible transformation cultivator, very few of them would go up to challenge it. Only when there was a great enmity between life and death would someone propose to challenge the sect of surpassing eminence. Zhuang Jingyi quickly bowed and spoke, replying to Sect Master, there are a lot of cultivators from the Le Continent, but most of them have already joined the major academies. Only a few like me are still looking for opportunities in the Heavenly Dao public square. Senior apprentice Sister Yan Ji has now joined the Floating Snow Palace, and left the Heavenly Dao public square with the people from the Floating Snow Palace 3 days ago. In Rong Jin's challenge, they could choose not to accept. However, they had to kneel before Rong Jin and beg for mercy, agreeing to one of Rong Jin's conditions. In other words, if you begged for mercy and someone told you to crawl under their crotch, you would have to do it. Jiang Jun is a true inheriting disciple of the Red Star Sword faction. If I have not guessed it wrong, then I'm afraid that he is already at the intermediate stages of the soul sculpting realm, or even the late stages of the soul sculpting realm. Tan Yun's tone turned gentle. The enmity between her and Jiang Jun was as deep as the sea. Moreover, this gentle tone contained a powerful hatred. Not long ago, Zhuang Jingyi had heard Ning Cheng say that he had fought with Gui Yuan City. As such, he knew that Ning Cheng and Gui Zhong definitely had some kind of conflict between them. Now that Ning Cheng asked about it, he quickly replied, I heard that he went to Heaven's Way, and then there was no news about him. This kind of explosive news, it would be hard for others to not know about it. Ning Cheng was a rising star, someone who had killed Tang Gongxi, who was at the Crucible Transformation 3rd level, causing his reputation to spread far and wide. Rong Jin was an experienced and ruthless person, and was one of the powerhouses of the Yin Yang Dao sect. Tang Gongxi could not be compared to him at all. Moreover, his cultivation was several levels higher than Ning Cheng's. Tan Yun understood that Ning Cheng liked to go straight to the point. She stood up and gave Ning Cheng a respectful salute before speaking, If not for you, I might have still regarded those beasts as my family today. I've never had the chance to thank you, so I'm going to thank you this time. Of course, Ning Cheng was not brainless enough to tell Rong Jin to fuck off. He still had this bit of self-restraint. His original purpose was to provoke Rong Jin, and then when he left the Heavenly Dao public square, Rong Jin would follow him and then kill this guy. However, he did not expect that Rong Jin would issue a challenge. He had never heard of the sect surpassing overlords. Me killing Tang Gongxi can also be considered as helping you vent your anger. I think that we are friends and not enemies. Ning Cheng did not like Tan Yun's roundabout way of speaking. Ning Cheng looked at Zhuang Jingyi and asked, "Are there many cultivators from the Lu continent? By the way, do you know where Yan Ji is?" He originally wanted to kill Rong Jin, and now that Rong Jin took the initiative to challenge him, how could he not accept it? However, it had to be 3 months later. In these 3 months, he had to focus on finding the spirit vein. If he could find a spiritual vein, he might even be able to advance to the intermediate stage of the sea-opening realm and fight against Rong Jin. If he really couldn't find it, then so be it. Ning Cheng was very disappointed in his heart. He had wanted to find Yan Ji and invite her to join the Rainbow Fall Sword sect and live together in the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. He did not expect that he would be a few days late and that Yan Ji would end up joining the Floating Snow Palace. Although he didn't have any enmity with the Drifting Snow Palace, he didn't have a good impression of them either. With Yan Ji becoming a disciple of the Floating Snow Palace, Ning Cheng also dispelled the idea of going to see Yan Ji again. "Many thanks, Sect Master." Zhuang Jingyi received the jade card in surprise, thinking in his heart that they really came from the same place. Sect Master Ning had spared no effort in helping them. "Rong Jin, although your qualifications are a bit worse than mine. Since you want to court death, then I will fulfill your wish. However, this sect master currently has an important matter to attend to. 3 months later, we will have a showdown at the sect surpassing censure." Ning Cheng did not hesitate to agree to Rong Jin's challenge. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect currently only had a few disciples. As such, Ning Cheng wanted to recruit some disciples. Moreover, if the cultivators from the Lu continent could not find a sect, then they would only end up as rogue cultivators in the Tian continent. The fate of a rogue cultivator in the Tian continent could be imagined. Ning Cheng was only able to help out in this matter. As for how much he would be able to show up at the sect, it all depended on himself. Tan Yun spoke up without any hurry. "Sect Master Ning, please go ahead, I'm not in a hurry." Even if Rong Jin had great self-restraint, he still couldn't stand it. "Ning Cheng, do you think that the Heavenly Dao Public Square does not allow fighting, and that I can't do anything to you?" The Heavenly Dao Public Square also has a sect surpassing censure. I, Yin-Yang Dao Sect's Rong Jin, formally issue a challenge to you today. The sect surpassing censure will not rest until one of us is dead. Let's see if I can kill you or not. Many people began to look forward to the wonderful duel that would take place in 3 months. The sect surpassing censure had been silent for countless years, but because of this restless and combative sect Master Ning, it would once again reopen. As soon as Rong Jin's words came out, it immediately caused a commotion among the surrounding cultivators. A duel in the sect surpassing censure, this was not a trivial matter. Only cultivators above the crucible transformation realm in the sect surpassing censure were qualified to participate in the duel. Of course, if you were not a crucible transformation cultivator and were a sect master of a 7-star academy, then you would also be qualified to participate in the duel. Ning Cheng was not a crucible transformation cultivator, but he was a sect master, which was why he agreed to the conditions of the duel. Tan Yun secretly sighed. She knew that Ning Cheng was speaking the truth. Even if Ning Cheng was more powerful, he would not be able to kill a cultivator at the Great Circle of the Soul Essence Realm with his cultivation at the Profound Core 8th level. Tan Yun spoke up in a calm tone. "Sect Master Ning really is not afraid of trouble, You just killed the Red Star Sword faction's Tanggongshi, and now you want to challenge the Yin-Yang Dao Sect's Rong Jin." Ning Cheng, who was waiting on the side, spoke up to Tan Yun. "You wait a moment, I want to ask a few things." The Rainbow Fall Sword sect was currently very weak. As such, he would not try to curry favor with people who were already his opponents. However, if he could win over a partner, he would not push them away. "Senior Apprentice Sister Tan, why are you looking for me?" After Ning Cheng brought Tan Yun into the Scattered Star rest stop, he took the initiative to ask. He absolutely could not treat Tan Yun the same way he treated Rong Jin. Rong Jin was definitely an enemy. Tan Yun represented the Great Change Island, and was now an invisible partner of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. As such, they could develop into a genuine cooperative relationship. Ning Cheng spoke as he took out a jade card and handed it to Zhuang Jingyi. After you arrive at the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, just take out this jade card. The first time he, In Kongchan and Su Ingdae had come here to finalize the cooperation, it was also because of that cooperation that he managed to obtain the geocentric 9 essence, the underworld soul flower, and even the nirvana spear. Of course, it was also because of that cooperation that he almost lost his life in the hands of Su Ingdae. Thinking until here, she took the initiative to explain. The sect Surpassing Censure is a place where crucible transformation cultivators or academy heads challenge each other. The cultivators who enter will not rest until they die. If you don't agree to Elder Rong's challenge, you can take the initiative to admit defeat. If you admit defeat, you must beg for mercy, and if you beg for mercy, you must listen to any one of Elder Rong Jin's conditions. Ning Qing could only give out a dark sigh. Although the Great Change Island was one of the top 10 academies, but when compared to the strength of the Red Star Sword faction, it was still a lot worse. Jiang Jun was holed up in the sect in closed-door cultivation, so it was normal for her to be helpless. Go ahead. Ning Qing nodded. He knew that Tan Yun was looking for him because she wanted to cooperate with him. As for why she wanted to cooperate with him, he was not very clear about it. Obviously, it was Rong Jin who challenged Ning Qing. However, Tan Yun said that Ning Qing challenged Rong Jin. In fact, Ning Qing also knew that what she said was not wrong. It was indeed him who took the initiative to challenge them. He did not look down on Rong Jin in front of everyone and told him to scram. With Rong Jin's ability to maintain his composure, he would never take the initiative to challenge him. What Ning Qing did not know was that Yan Ji had already inquired about him. She came to know that he was forced to flee by several of the major academies, before disappearing without a trace. However, when the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's headmaster did not say anything, she dispelled the idea of joining the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Under the persuasion of In Kongchan, she decided to join the floating snow palace. Yes. Zhuang Jingyi quickly responded. He was a rogue cultivator from the Lu continent, and did not have any friends in this place. As such, he was not aware of the things that happened in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect a few days ago. Ning Qing immediately understood. His spiritual consciousness had already swept to the place where the 3 words sect Surpassing Censure were engraved. It was located on the westernmost side of the Heavenly Dao public square. Rong Jin's complexion returned to its previous tranquil state. It's just empty talk. An early-stage sea-opening realm cultivator dares to become the headmaster of one of the top 10 academies. It only means that this academy has no one to back it up. The reason why I came looking for you this time, in addition to thanking you, is because I want to cooperate with you on a certain matter. As Tan Yun spoke, she raised her hand and set up several soundproof restrictions. Regardless of how Ning Qing and Rong Jin ridiculed each other, the news of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's headmaster Ning Qing and Rong Jin, 3 months later at the Heavenly Dao Public Square's sect Surpassing Censure, instantly spread out. Headmaster Ning should be aware that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was plotted against, and that someone had appeared with a spiritual vein, which led to the 4 Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Grand Elder Taoists to leave, right? After Tan Yun set up the soundproof restriction, she still spoke in a very careful tone. I know, you can go back to the academy. There are some things happening in the academy, you don't have to worry about it, just focus on your cultivation. Ning Qing exhorted. Ning Qing quickly waved his hand and spoke. Senior Apprentice Sister Tan, please sit down. I have already said that my Rainbow Fall Sword sect and the Great Change Island are friends. It's a pity that my cultivation was too low at that time, and was unable to rescue your sister. I don't know how that Red Star Sword faction's Jiang Jun is now. Saying that, Rong Jin did not wait for Ning Qing to answer, as he turned around and instantly disappeared from the Heavenly Dao public square. Challenging a person with a lower cultivation than him, Rong Jin had to admit that he was stimulated by Ning Qing. As a headmaster of her academy, this Ning Qing did not have even half a shred of cultivation. Since he was a rogue cultivator with no upbringing, then there was no need for him, Rong Jin, to give him any face. Seeing Ning Qing looking at her, Tan Yun immediately understood that Ning Qing did not know about the sect Surpassing Censure. Because of her younger sister Tan Yushan's matter, Tan Yun had investigated Ning Qing's origins. She knew that Ning Cheng came from the Le continent. Moreover, he had not been in the Tian continent for a long time. As such, it was normal for such a cultivator to not know about the sect surpassing censure. What's more, this life and death duel was not only a matter between Ning Cheng and Rong Jin, but also a matter between the Yin Yang Dao sect and the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Starflower rest stop. This was Ning Cheng's second time coming here. In that case, you can go to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect first. If there are any disciples from the Le continent who have not found a sect, as long as they are willing, they can join the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Chapter 424. There is indeed such a thing. Moreover, my Rainbow Fall Sword sect's elder Taishang, she also perished. Ning Cheng thought that Tan Yun already knew who the culprit was, and also did not conceal it. Actually, it is true that the Shattered Canopy Mountain has a spiritual vein. As Tan Yun spoke, her eyes were looking at Ning Cheng. Seeing Ning Cheng's calm expression, she asked with some doubts, "Did you know about this matter?" Ning Cheng smiled. My Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Grand Elder is not an idiot. If it were a fake spiritual vein, would my Rainbow Fall Sword sect even have 4 Grand Elders? Also, in fact, many people know that the Shattered Canopy Mountain spiritual vein is real, but no one knows where this spiritual vein is located. The Shattered Canopy Mountain stretched for millions of miles and was one of the 3 major mountain ranges of the Tian continent. Coupled with the fact that the Shattered Canopy Mountains are filled with natural restrictions and monstrous beast caves, it is definitely not easy to find a spiritual vein concealed by a natural array formation. Dan Yun nodded and spoke. I wonder why Senior Sister Dan is looking for me? This time, someone might be able to find the approximate location of the Shattered Canopy Mountain's spiritual vein. At that time, many people would definitely try to snatch it. I hope that I can cooperate with Sect Master Ning and get a share of the pie. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. Senior Apprentice Sister Dan, I am just a cultivator at the early stages of the Sea Opening Realm, while you are just a cultivator at the first level of the Sea Opening Realm, which is even lower than me. Even if I could kill an ordinary crucible transformation cultivator, do you think that we would be able to snatch the spiritual vein from the hands of so many people? Besides, your Great Change Island should have a lot of crucible transformation cultivators, right? Although I have always regarded Senior Apprentice Sister Dan as a friend, but I do not believe that Senior Apprentice Sister Dan's trust in me is even more than the trust in the crucible transformation cultivators of the Great Change Island. Ning Cheng did not have anything to hide, it was a fact. Even if he was more powerful, in the end, he was only equivalent to a crucible transformation cultivator. There were definitely cultivators stronger than him on the Great Change Island. Would Dan Yun give up the easy and ask for the difficult? Would she rather give the benefits to him? Therefore, he didn't even bother to ask who could find the location of the spirit vein. Tan Yun seemed to be aware of Ning Cheng's thoughts as she gave out a sigh and spoke. I did not want to speak about the matters within the academy. If my father was still in the academy, then even if the Red Star Sword faction was even more ruthless, even if Jiang Jun's backer was even more powerful, my Great Change Island would still have forced the Red Star Sword faction to hand over Jiang Jun. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to make them listen to me. I can only rely on myself. Besides, this spiritual vein was obtained by the Academy's Crucible Transformation Elder. Tan Yun did not continue, but Ning Cheng already understood the meaning behind the other party's words. The internal structure of the Great Change Island was not a monolithic monolith. Jiang Jun had killed Tan Yun's younger sister, Tan Yushan, and there was already ironclad evidence. Yet, the Great Change Island was still unable to force the Red Star Sword faction to hand over Jiang Jun. This indicated that there was definitely something strange going on. Tan Yun's cultivation was too low, and since the Academy had not reached an agreement, she was powerless to do anything. Once Tan Yun asked the Academy's elders to come forward and seize the spiritual vein, not to mention whether or not they could obtain the spiritual vein, even if they could obtain it, they would at least get a portion of it from the Academy. If Tan Yun wanted to take revenge by herself, then she would have to obtain the spiritual vein by herself. Tan Yun's words caused Ning Cheng to feel somewhat disappointed. He was looking forward to attacking the Red Star Sword faction in the future. He did not expect that the Great Change Island would turn out to be so weak. If someone from the Red Star Sword faction had killed a disciple from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, then with conclusive evidence, Ning Cheng would absolutely demand the Red Star Sword faction to hand over the culprit. Even if the other party did not hand it over, he would still make a public statement that he would definitely destroy the Red Star Sword faction in the future. In contrast, the Great Change Island truly was weak. No wonder Tan Yun wanted to forcibly advance to the first level of the Sea Opening Realm. If she wanted to avenge her little sister, then she could only rely on herself. Seeing Ning Cheng somewhat disappointed, Tan Yun continued, "Your cultivation is higher than me, equivalent to a crucible transformation cultivator. This time, I will provide the information while you provide the main force. No matter how many spiritual veins you obtain, you can just give me a third of it." "I understand. You can tell me who can find the spiritual vein, and how did you know about it?" Ning Cheng had already decided to join forces with Tan Yun. Tan Yun was not greedy, she only wanted a third. If she wanted to divide it equally, then Ning Cheng would definitely not agree. "How I came to know about it, I cannot tell you. I can only tell you that the one who took action was the Tian continent's premier array formation grandmaster, Wu Mao. This time, 3 crucible transformation cultivators came looking for him. They were prepared to join forces to find the spiritual vein. After finding the spiritual vein, they would divide it into 5 portions, with Wu Mao taking 2. "If we cooperate, then we just need to follow them." Tan Yun spoke with certainty. "Okay, I agree. When do we set off?" Ning Cheng could see that Tan Yun was not lying and was telling the truth. Ning Cheng also knew about this person called Wu Mao. He was indeed the Tian continent's premier array formation grandmaster. He had heard that he could arrange rank 9 array formations. Moreover, his strength was also extremely powerful, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 4th level. "Let's go now, then hide in the Shattered Canopy Mountains. Once Wu Mao and the others arrive, we can carefully follow them." Tan Yun spoke without hesitation. The Shattered Canopy Mountain, just like its name suggested, had an endless mountain range that covered almost everything. Some rogue cultivators were searching for some low-leveled monstrous beasts and spiritual grasses at the edge of the Shattered Canopy Mountains. From time to time, bursts of beast roars could be heard coming from the depths of the mountain range. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was also greatly reduced in this kind of place. After Ning Cheng arrived at this place, he finally understood why the top cultivators could not even find a single spiritual vein. Wanting to find a spiritual vein in this place was indeed very difficult. Tan Yun obviously had not come to the Shattered Canopy Mountains for the first time. As such, she was very familiar with this place. Even after leading Ning Cheng for half a day, they did not encounter even a single monstrous beast blocking their way. "We will hide here." Tan Yun stopped next to a large patch of thorns and spoke. "How did you know that they would come here? The Shattered Canopy Mountains are simply too big. If they did not meet here, wouldn't it be a waste of our time?" Ning Cheng asked in doubt. "They will definitely meet here. The news that I obtained is that they will meet at the entrance of the Mist Gorge. The entrance to the Mist Gorge is just in front of us. Our cultivations are a bit lacking, as such we can only hide our auras and hide here. We cannot get too close." Saying that, Tan Yun took out a medicinal pill and handed it to Ning Cheng. This is a form-changing pill. It can change a person's appearance and aura for 24 hours. This pill is very rare. Once they find the spiritual vein, we can just grab it and leave. As long as you block them for 10 breaths of time, I am confident that I can intercept a part of the spiritual vein, and then we can meet at the agreed place. The form-changing pill was a rank 7 medicinal pill, which was very precious for Tan Yun. However, Ning Cheng had a bottle of it in his storage ring. However, he still put away Tan Yun's form-changing pill and asked, "Are you going to use a talisman to escape?" Tan Yun nodded. "Yes, I can only walk away alone. I believe that once the spiritual vein appears, they will definitely focus on the spiritual vein and will not besiege you. At that time, it would be the best time for you to escape. Of course, if you feel that you are not sure, You can also withdraw now. No, I agree. Since I am going to get a bigger share of the spiritual vein, it is only natural for me to bear a bigger risk. Ning Cheng spoke up without hesitation. He possessed the twin wings of the heavenly fate. If he could not escape from the siege of a few crucible transformation cultivators, then he might as well buy a piece of tofu. With Ning Cheng and Tan Yun concealing their auras and hiding under the thistles and thorns, the surroundings once again regained its tranquility without even a single sound. A day passed by in this way. Tan Yun had spoken about the Mist Gorge, but not even a single person's shadow came to this place. Even monstrous beasts did not pass through this place. As the second and third day passed by, Ning Cheng was not in a hurry. Not to mention hiding for 3 days, even if he had to hide for 30 days, he would not care. Tan Yun, however, could not help it. It was reasonable to say that someone would come the next day. Now that 3 or 4 days had passed, could it be that they were too late, and Wu Mao and the others had already left? Tan Yun was just about to send a sound transmission to Ning Cheng, when Ning Cheng made a gesture to her. Tan Yun quickly stopped the sound transmission and concealed her aura. She soon discovered that there was another layer of concealment covering her body. She immediately understood that Ning Cheng did not believe in her concealment technique and had helped her add another layer of concealment. Ning Cheng truly did not believe in Tan Yun's concealment cultivation method. This place was very close to the Mist Gorge, and Tan Yun's aura was somewhat overflowing. He did not want to fight against 4 crucible transformation cultivators. After a few breaths, 2 Taoist shadows landed at the entrance of the Mist Gorge. After these 2 Taoist shadows landed, their spiritual consciousnesses instantly swept out. Feeling the powerful spiritual consciousnesses, Ning Cheng secretly felt that it was a close call. Fortunately, he had helped Tan Yun add a layer of concealment. At this moment, he did not observe the appearance and cultivation of these 2 cultivators. Although he believed that his spiritual consciousness would not be discovered, he did not want to do such a meaningless thing. If he tried to observe the other party's concentration, then in case he was discovered, it would be a waste of all his efforts. These 2 spiritual consciousnesses apparently did not care much about it. After sweeping through the thistles and thorns covering Ning Cheng and Tan Yun, they quickly withdrew. The 2 of them did not have to wait for long when another Taoist shadow arrived. The 3 of them whispered a few words together, and after the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the 4th Taoist shadow landed. After the 4 of them gathered together, they only exchanged a few words before they instantly entered the Mist Gorge. Ning Cheng did not immediately follow them. Instead, he sent a sound transmission to Tan Yun, "Wait for me. Don't go more than 10 steps behind me. At the same time, do not use your spiritual consciousness to track the 4 people in front of you. Leave the tracking to me." In fact, Ning Cheng wanted Tan Yun to leave immediately while he followed them alone. However, he also knew that Tan Yun would not leave. She did not trust him that much. "Okay, I know." Tan Yun replied without hesitation. She was secretly rejoicing in her heart that she had asked Ning Cheng for help. She had overestimated her concealment technique and cultivation. If not for Ning Cheng's help, even if she hid here without being discovered, she would not have been able to track the 4 people in front of her. Ning Cheng was extremely careful with his spiritual consciousness. Although he only had the cultivation of 3rd level of Sea Opening Realm, his spiritual consciousness was not the spiritual consciousness of a Sea Opening Realm cultivator. Not only that, but because of the mysterious yellow formless cultivation method, his spiritual consciousness could also become invisible and formless. Tracking 4 crucible transformation cultivators, as long as he was careful, there would not be any problems. What surprised Ning Cheng was that he knew one of the 4 people. It was a beautiful woman, Sang Jeju of the Floating Snow Palace. This Sang Jeju was said to be the 7th palace master of the Floating Snow Palace. She was also the woman who had gone to the Severing Emotions Dao sect to help him, allowing Yin Kongchan to marry him. One of the other 3 was a middle-aged cultivator with a long beard, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 6th level. The other was a short and thin man, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 5th level. The 4th person was the one that attracted Ning Cheng's attention the most. This was a cultivator with a red face holding a compass in his hand, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 4th level. Ning Cheng, from the gestures of this person as well as the continuous action of throwing out array flags, guessed that this person was definitely the Tian continent's premier array formation grandmaster, Wu Mao. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.